The sixth-ranked Texas baseball team is back in Austin for the first home series of 2015. After an offensive outburst on Tuesday, the Horns hope to stay hot as they welcome an old rival to the dish. The three-time national champion Minnesota Gophers have burrowed south to take on Texas for the 90th time in school history. Gophers, Longhorns, next on LHN. Welcome to Austin, Texas. A beautiful evening for college baseball. Minnesota glad to be out of the cold as they are in Austin to take on sixth-ranked Texas here at UFCU Disch-Falk Field. The crowd still filing in. The wind blowing out. We could have some long balls. A guy who liked to hit the long ball and did it well joins me now. Keith Moreland, Kevin Dunn here. And Keith, like when you were here from 73 to 75, this team came back in 2015 with expectations to get back and this time finish it off.
Boy, that's a weird word, too, sometimes, expectations. Folks, this is a Texas team last year that wasn't predicted to do much. 5th or 6th in the conference, got to play their best baseball late, made it all the way to the College World Series, and really made an impact once they got there. Now, this team, a lot of returning guys back from that team, are expected to do well. It's always harder on a team that's expected to win than one that wasn't expected to win. So this is a great start. They've off to a good start. 2-game winning streak coming into the game.
What does Augie Garrido say? If you could take out one word from Webster's, it would be expectations. He's not a fan
of... Get you fired sometimes.
Right, and most good coaches are not. Well, you take a look at Minnesota, and they do have some returning guys coming back. Michael Handel would probably be the first guy you look at. Fifth-year senior, really good defensively, kind of the heart and soul of this team.
He is the heart and soul of this team. He's excellent defensive, as you said. Led their team in slugging last year. But the one thing he does more than anything else is he leads by example. This is a team that's going to be on the road 6 weekends in a row. They go out, get to play outdoors, play in some warm weather as it is here tonight. Then they have to go back and work out indoors. Very difficult. You have to have that senior leadership to hold this team together. Oh, by the way, it's 18 degrees in Minneapolis tonight.
Yeah, not bad to be 69 here. Wind may be blowing, but those guys really happy just to be playing baseball. We're going to give you the starting lineups, the starting pitchers, and we are ready to play some baseball here on Longhorn Network when we get back. John Anderson has 1,151 wins. That is good for 10th among active Division I coaches. Minnesota started the season off, I should say, last weekend, getting swept in a 3-game set against Houston. First 21 games are going to be on the road in 4 different states. First meeting in Austin since 1990. We take a look at their lineup, and Keith, the guy we want to highlight, is hitting 9th, but he's so far so good.
Well, he's really done a nice job. He's got one start, but he's done a nice job in that start. He's been involved in all 3 ball games, but he's done a nice job in that capacity. You know, the bottom of the order, once you get down in the order, you have to have some guys set the table to get back to those guys. It'll be important for him, and he's going to be facing the senior right-hander from Dripping Springs and Parker French. When you look at Parker, you just look at his numbers, the 6'2", 218-pound right-hander from Dripping Springs. Kevin, the thing that comes off the page for me is strike one. I know that in his senior year, he knows how to pitch. He's pitched in big situations, but his effectiveness, to me, comes back to strike one. Whether it's the sinker, whether it's the slider, an off-speed pitch, it doesn't matter. Pitching ahead is the key for Parker French. When he does, he's got that type of stuff. He's not a big strikeout guy, but he makes the hitter defensive. And once a hitter becomes defensive, he's in trouble.
Not a big strikeout guy, but a big ground ball guy when he is going well, getting back to that sinker. Parker, one appearance so far this year. That was last Friday night in Houston, a no decision, but he pitched pretty well.
He did pitch pretty well. He was able to throw strikes, get ahead. I don't think he had great command of his breaking ball in the game. I think if you went back and asked Parker, he said, well, I just really couldn't command my slider very well.
Dan Mody's going to lead it off. And we're underway here. Chopped. Brett Boswell was in. Got the easy hop, and 1 pitch, 1 out. There's your 1 pitch.
There is that 1 pitch. And the first thing that Kevin and I talked about is you get ready for one of these games. The first thing you said to me, well, these guys swing the bat. They don't take many walks. They do come to the plate hitting. When you're in cold weather, Kevin, the only thing you can really do and do effectively is swing the bat to get a lot of work. So these guys are aggressive. They feel like they can hit. They got 21 hits against a good pitching staff at University of Houston. I expect them to come out and be aggressive offensively.
Connor Schaefbauer led the club in hitting last year. Sioux Falls, Minnesota. They've seen 3 pitches, and they've been
all strikes.
All strikes, and Minnesota's been aggressive.
And the other thing you'll notice, folks, if you watch this game, this is a big group of men. I mean, when these guys come to the plate, they're 6'1", 6'2". The big athletic baseball team are the Golden Gophers.
First thing when I asked Augie, I said, what about this team? He said it's a typical Anderson team in that they're physical. It's a physical club, and like you said, it's the one thing they can actually work on when they clearly have not had a lot of time to work. Because notice Parker at 93 right now. Is that a good spot for him to be, or does his velo not matter?
I think his velo matters. I think the harder he throws, it flattens out a little bit. I think he's better as he starts to tire a little bit and doesn't try to overthrow.
To the left side, this is going to be an opportunity for Johnson, but he can't make the play. The wind is really blowing right to left, and it's tough for these outfielders. We saw that in practice. It's real tough.
This is a good effort. Also, by the way, that is a padded concrete wall. It doesn't give. That's a really good effort. Turn your body, protect yourself, try to do the best you can. And plus, the wind was really blowing that ball away from Ben that time. Unable to make the play. Boy, when you look at that, that is a foot worth of concrete right there. It's not moving.
It's a short. And a Hossa. And there's 2 outs. Well, you know all about that, Keith, playing at Wrigley Field.
Well, it's ivy on the wall. Everybody says, that's soft. No, there's a brick wall right behind it, and it's not going anywhere. This is a nice job by CJ. Attack. To play defense for young players. If you want to become a good defensive player, attack the baseball. Don't lay back. If you lay back on that play, it makes it a much more difficult play. He was able to come get it on a good hop, make the play easily.
Brings up Matt Fiedler. Took a little bit off of that, and that's in there for a strike.
Good to see that breaking ball for a strike.
Left side, Boswell dives, gets up, makes the throw, and makes it look pretty darn easy. 1, 2, 3 go the Gophers in the first.
Well, the first thing you've got to do if you go to your left as a third baseman, you've got to get to your feet quickly. That's exactly what Boswell does here. He gets it and on time.
Augie Garrido, more wins in college baseball than any other coach. Longhorns are 3-2 this year, ranked 6th in the USA Today poll. Ranked out 14 runs and 20 hits in the win against UTSA, the blowout win, 14-2. Longhorns have played Minnesota a bunch, 67-22 all-time. All of those happen in the regular season. We take a look at his lineup, and we're going to start at the top. Ben Johnson's been doing it all.
Well, he's been doing an outstanding job. The junior from right here in Austin, Texas, he's been able to set the table. He's got outstanding speed, maybe one of the strongest athletes on campus here at the University of Texas per pound. He's got the power to hit the ball in the ballpark. He can do a lot of different things, and at this point, he leads the team with 8 RBIs. That's from the leadoff spot.
From the leadoff spot, exactly. Ben Meyer is going to be the pitcher for Minnesota. He's a senior right-hander, big kid, 6'6", 200 pounds from New Brighton, Minnesota. Does have a brother on the team, and his dad played here in Minnesota from 80 to 83 with Coach Anderson.
A little bit across his body, a big 6'6" young man. His fastball is not going to top at 94, 95, but it's in the low 90s at times. Got a good, outstanding at times slider that comes across his body. Difficult on right-handed hitters. The left-handers have a big advantage against the big, tall right-hander.
And Johnson swinging at the first pitch and fouls it out. Well, Meyer's numbers last week against Houston. He did start, went 3 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, and 2 earned.
He's a guy that wants the ball. He knows he's that 5th-year senior. He's been around for a long time. He understands what it takes to compete. And you talk about a conference that's improving. Now, obviously, we'll get to it after this pitch. I think one of the things that we're starting to see with the money coming into college baseball all across the country, I think the conference that's improving the most is the Big Ten.
I think
they're taking advantage of that. The money that's coming in, they're building new facilities.
Well, the money they've gotten from the Big Ten Network, and then also the fact that college baseball has tried to help out the northern schools by pushing the schedule back a little bit.
That's exactly right, and helping them out. But I think that you're seeing the biggest improvement for a major conference is the Big Ten.
Ball's hit to right center, and this is going to get past the right fielder Boxwell. The freshman took a gamble. Can Ben Johnson get another inside the park home run? They're going to hold them up. But a good start for Johnson in Texas.
Well, Boxwell, anytime you leave your feet as an outfielder, there's nobody behind you, you're in trouble. You got to make sure you can knock it down, and early in the game, fastball away. Nice job of hitting right here. Going with the pitch away from him, rips it into right field. Boxwell thinks he's got a shot at it, but look at the Jets right here. Ben Johnson's thinking score right now as he let his body out, and Tommy Nicholson throws the stop sign up. It's a leadoff triple.
Gets back to what you said. Maybe the hitting will be a little more advanced, but these guys have not seen many balls like that.
They haven't been outside. They just haven't had enough time in the outdoors.
I'll bring up Colin Shaw.
If you lay out like that, I don't think you can give an error. In my opinion, that should be a triple. We'll see how they score it at this point. I believe it's for sure at least a base hit, but I would call it a triple.
It's definitely a hit, and I think you're right. It is going to be a triple. Colin Shaw, he's senior from right here in Westlake. Colin's off to a good start, hitting .350. He's a guy who played in the Cape Cod League, and he has used summer ball the last couple of years to work on his skills.
It's a highlight film on the field defensively. If you haven't seen Colin Shaw play right field, stick around.
Seems like every game there's one.
Oh, yeah, every game. He's not afraid to lay his body out.
Down in the count 0-2 to Ben Meyer.
Infield's back right here. As a hitter, my job, hit a ground ball to second base. Give yourself up, make it a productive out, give your team the lead.
That's close.
And as a manager, John Anderson right here, you think as a head coach, it's early in the game. We got to play our infield back. That pitch just did miss. I don't believe it was low. It might have been in.
Yeah. I know.
It wasn't low.
It wasn't low. And I'm not sure it was in, but it was a ball. Just take a look at John Anderson in his 34th season. He was actually down here in 1975 when Minnesota came to play you guys. He was injured.
When the teams that Minnesota brought down here when we played against them all 3 years in my collegiate career here at the University of Texas. The first 2 years had Dave Winfield, the last year had Paul Molitor to go with it.
That's not bad. Now, we're going to get into Minnesota's history. It surprise you if you don't follow college baseball super seriously. And Keith, what'd you say? Just roll it over and hit it to second, and that'll score a run.
Well, that's doing your job right there. It's about offensive baseball. You hear Coach Garrido talk about it, managers in Major League Baseball saying, we don't have to be a great team with guys hitting home runs and doing it, but we got to play the game. And that's playing the game right there. Infield's back, do your job, make contact on the ground, and Johnson trots in and scores easily. Just like that, the Longhorns take advantage of the leadoff triple.
That'll bring up C.J. Hinojosa, the junior shortstop from the Houston area. CJ at 222 now on the season. So Augie felt like he hit the ball really hard at Rice, didn't have a lot to show for it. And CJ, be the first to tell you, probably got a couple knocks on Tuesday that found some holes.
Hitters never think they even out.
Right.
Pitchers think they all are equal. It's your frame of mind, which way you're looking at. You're looking at it on the defensive side or the offensive side. What you want to try to do, though, as a hitter is maintain and stay within yourself, take good quality at bats, and the hits will come.
One and two.
I believe in the Sunday game at Rice, there was at least 20, 25 quality at bats by the Longhorns.
There's a quality at bat back up the middle.
Hit that ball right on the button, but he did a nice job of working the count. He puts himself in a good position. And I believe he come back on Tuesday against UTSA. think they probably had, again, another 20, 25 at-bats. If you can take, as a team, if you have 20, 25 at-bats, good quality at-bats, you're going to be a good offensive club.
One of the things Augie really liked is that they struck out 17 times in that game and still came back from the deficit. It showed a lot of mental toughness at the plate. You get the sense Augie really likes the makeup of this team, but obviously still some things to figure out. And funny thing for Texas, it's kind of on the pitching staff, which that's not usually the case.
I think offensively this team's further along than any team we've seen here in 3 or 4 years for sure.
Yeah, probably go back to 2010. That was a record-setting club, offensive club for Texas. 2-0 now to Brooks Marlowe.
We're playing with a lot different baseball than we were playing with it too. So,
a different bat too.
So there's a lot of different things that come into play.
Brooks, the senior from Giddings, at 238. He's 1 for 8 with runners on this season.
Watching Brooks batting practice today, was really taking a lot of time trying to stay through the ball, through the baseball. And there, 2-0, was a little bit out in front and rolled over the top of it. So when you're fighting, coming over the top a little bit and that front shoulder coming out, you want to make sure when you're taking batting practice to drive that front thrower through to center field and not to right field as a left-handed hitter.
Gets in on him, but let's see if... Oh, nice play right there by Shefty. Tony Shefty, the third baseman. That gets back to pop flies, but Tony was able to get underneath that.
Well, this is a really nice effort. You really playing in a ballpark you haven't been to, wind blowing out, going away from you. You're not sure where that wall is. That's a nice play right there. And a nice pitch again by Meyer to get in on what happens to Brooks Marlowe. When you're opening up just a little bit soon, that's when they can get in on you. When you're closed, your bat's quicker to the ball than it is when you're open. I always just say open is slow, closed is fast.
There's Trace Barrera coming off a monster game against UTSA where he had 5 hits and 6 runs knocked in, including a 3-run blast to left.
He put on a show at BP today.
He did.
Yes, he did.
He was definitely enjoying the wind blowing out to left, and I saw him at least get 3 or 4.
Oh, he had 1 round. I think it was a round of 5 for 4 left the building.
Wow.
And it's not easy to hit a ball out of UFCU Disch-Falk Field.
No. See Kevin Lussom in 2010. And boy, a big jump. CJ will take that, and he got that off Ben Meyer.
Well, Meyer got into a rhythm, Kevin, where you come set doing the same thing every time. He just didn't feel like that CJ was going to steal. He came set, didn't look over there, and had not even chance to make a throw. You can say he didn't even look back to see that CJ had broke. He got into that same pattern for every pitch he's throwing. You can't do that as a pitcher. You got to change your pattern.
CJ read that, and one of the easiest stolen bases he will have. All 5 Texas hitters have seen at least 4 pitches. Count runs full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 1 in for Texas. And Johnson opened the game up with a triple brought in by Colin Shaw, ground out.
26th pitch of the inning. That's laboring.
Especially early in the season. I expect both Parker and Ben to be on pitch counts tonight.
Yeah, I would think 75 to 80. Both of them probably in that range.
Line drive, back up the middle. Nicholson's going to send CJ. Here comes the throw. 2-0 Horns.
This is exactly how you hit a baseball. Out over the plate, dropped his hands right down, didn't try to do too much on it. 2 strikes on a power hitter. You get the ball down. Boy, he put a good swing on this. Not sure why this ball was cut off. That looked like to be a pretty accurate throw to the plate. Ball was cut off. Leads to the second run, but that's a real nice job of extending your arms down and staying on top of the baseball right there. Keith, for Trace Barrera.
I'm with you. When Modi let go of that, I thought that's a pretty good throw, and there could be a play here. Brett Boswell now up. Barrera is 4 for 4 in his last 4 with runners in scoring position. He ducks around the pond. He is hot. 2 to Boswell. Boswell, redshirt freshman from Rockwall. He was a guy who Texas really liked last year, and he had a wrist injury, so redshirted, but they felt like he could have been in the middle of the lineup and playing third base last year.
Well, I think he was a guy that would have been on the field. You know, where that would, I think it would have ended up at third.
Right.
You're right, but I think he would have been on the field. I don't think there's a doubt about that. And he's trying to get back into the flow. You miss as much time as he missed. Now, he did get to play into the summer last year. He had a really good fall here on campus, so, and has won the job at third base. And I look for him to be a guy that's not a big home run guy, but, boy, foul line to foul line hitter.
He looks like Mark Payton in the face. Took a lot off of that, pulled the string, and Boswell's down on strikes, but Texas able to get out early, and they do it with Ben Johnson leading off the game with a triple. He's brought home, and Trace Barrera continues his hot streak. It's Texas by 2.
Top of the second inning, and Kevin Dunn with you. And keys to today's game for me, for Minnesota, they had to limit base runners. They didn't in that first inning. They wanted to try to get ahead in the game. They ended up giving up 4 base runners in that first inning and trailed now 2-0. For Texas, they want to get their starting pitchers deeper into a ball game. They want to strengthen them, lengthen them. You know, we're only a month away from conference play starting right now, so they would like to get them deeper in the game, and they did keep swinging the bat, especially early in the game with those 3 hits in the first inning, a couple of extra base hits involved as well.
And Longhorns leading 2-0 as we head to the second. 4, 5, and 6 due up for Minnesota. This is Toby Hansen. Hansen has been a nice surprise. He's a freshman hitting .444.
John Anderson told us, he said, I'm really happy with this guy. We thought he could make an impact early, but he's really a little bit further along than they thought at this point. He has slowed the game down. A lot of times, it's interesting to hear head coaches from all over the country talk about, we got to slow it down. Sometimes the game's too fast for the young men. They, then there are those guys that really slow it down, and it becomes to them very slow and easy.
This is Lace back up the middle. They feel like he's going to be a physical offensive presence, and one of the things Coach Anderson said, he liked the way he and also Alex Boxwell was going to be hitting ninth, just the way they were relaxed up there.
Well, he stayed inside that pitch right there, did a nice job. French made a mistake upstairs. Can't pitch above the belt. That one's above the belt right there and ripped into center.
The first base runner for Minnesota and a leadoff base runner. They'll bring up Michael Handel. We talked about him in the open. 5th-year senior, shortstop. He can swing the bat a little bit as well.
Surprising power. Really good gap-to-gap power. Gets good extension. He led the Gophers last year in slugging percentage for the starters. First time you come out in the stretch for Parker French. He hasn't been in the stretch since the pregame. He's been in the windup. Now all of a sudden, 30 minutes ago is the last time he was in the stretch. Sometimes it's hard to get a feel for what you're going to do once you get in the stretch.
And one swung through that.
That's what we were talking about last week. Had a tough time with his breaking ball. This is a good one right here. Good slider, snapped off, great location, started in the middle of the plate, broke it to the outside corner.
First swinging strike of the game for Minnesota. 1-2, and boy, when sinker ballers are going well, that's what you see a lot, Keith.
Yeah, the guys wear the braces on their feet. I never had that as a hitter. I never felt like I fouled many balls off of my feet, but you do it, and if you do it just one time, you think about wearing a shield from that point on, because it really hurts.
This is lifted in the air. Gerwitz underneath it, and there's one out.
There's a term in baseball called a routine can of corn, and that's what this was, but it showed you right there what this breeze is doing right now. That ball carried 360, 370 feet because of this breeze right now. It's going to be a factor before the night's out. Somebody's going to get one up in the breeze. It's going to get out of it.
I didn't think Zane Gerwitz was going to catch it right there.
No.
I thought it was going to be about 30 feet in as the runner takes off. French snags it. We'll throw over to Barrera, so the runner moves up, but there's 2 outs. Coach Anderson trying to get something going here early.
He put a little motion on right there, and a nice job by the senior Parker French. He didn't panic. He knew no chance to go to second. Let's just get an out. I make a pitch. Let's get one out. Now he'll do a nice job as a senior to bring his catcher out and say, hey, what sign are we using now again for the man on second base? Because so many times you forget because you hadn't had anybody out there, and all of a sudden, oh, what are we using with the man on second?
And a rarity in college baseball, Michael Cantu is a true freshman, and you've got a senior out on the mound. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, where the senior pitcher's going, hey, come here, young man.
We got to talk about this.
Yes, we do.
We've got a runner in scoring position. Goes back to that slider, and Tony Shefty swings through it. Well, Keith, you talk about first pitch strikes. Parker French, all 7 batters.
And
first
I think
pitch.
he's just so effective when that happens. When he can jump out in front, all of a sudden as a hitter, you get them overly aggressive. He can expand his pitch zone.
Goes back to the slider, rolls it over to Hinojosa. And Minnesota gets a runner in scoring position to Parker French, able to strand him. Beautiful night here in Austin, Texas. Longhorns lead the Gophers 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the second inning. 7, 8, and 9 are due up for Texas to face Ben Meyer, who's out for his second full inning of work. And Texas with a couple true freshmen to start off. Michael McCann from Round Rock went to Cedar Ridge High School and had that big game-winning hit Sunday in extras to beat Rice. What have you seen from this young man?
Well, I think first and foremost, I like the fact he's got a good, quick, strong bat. I mean, and what I mean by that is he can hit the inside fastball. He's a guy that can turn, use his hands. Now, there's some other things he's still got to work on some mechanical things. But the thing that you like about it is that the barrel comes through the zone. And there's so many times guys have a tendency, especially young hitters, want to put it in play, feel for it a little bit. When he lets it go, he lets it go.
5'9", 215-pounder. It's the first pitch strike. Meyer's been good in the 7 batters that he has faced. 6 of those he has started off with first pitch strikes.
He's just elevated some pitches. He made a mistake 2-2. The breaking ball there was not in a great location. It was a strike, but it wasn't in a great location. He elevated the 2-2 pitch to Johnson and started the game with the triple.
He's gotten ahead. He's not been able to finish. Keith's exactly right. He's just kept a couple balls up, and Texas has made them pay. Something Texas offenses have not done the last couple years. Last year, give them credit, they got hot, but really 2011, 2012, Keith, they just weren't getting it done.
Yeah,
in 2013.
Offensively just didn't put it. They didn't score enough runs.
Period. 2-2, worked back into the count. He was ranked as the #3 catcher in the state of Texas by Perfect Game. He's, Augie says, a very good defensive catcher. Just got some other really good defensive catchers on campus.
He's doing his job. He's making his opportunity. Get on the field, play any way you can play. He's done a nice job here to come back from an 0-2 count to get the count full.
Right back up the middle, and McCann keeps that hot streak up. And another leadoff base runner for Texas. We saw that a lot on Tuesday, and it paid off.
This is a nice job. Worked the count back, got a ball away from it, didn't try to do too much with it, didn't try to pull it. Nice job right there. You saw the head of the bat and his head both go right down on top of the baseball. Great camera work, guys, to show that. You just look at the numbers right there. I think this is going to be a year across the board that everybody's, not just Texas, the numbers are going to go up because the baseball is a lot easier to, I mean, it's got a little more pop in it, but I think this team as a whole is better offensively than we've seen in the last 3 years.
Nobody wants 5'7" LSU second baseman getting it off the end of their bat, hitting it 420 feet. No, but let's be honest, last year it was a drag for a lot of people.
Well, you go to the College World Series, and I happened to be there for the whole time, and you watch the games. The game needed some changes.
Yep. So far, so good. We'll continue to monitor that, and I think a fair point that some people have made is you take a look at Michael Cantu, who's off to a nice start for Texas, a true freshman from Corpus Christi. That usually hitters may be a little bit behind right now. We'll see where they are, but you would think that maybe the offense will continue to pick up.
I do. I think that the hitters from the northern schools are probably further along than some of the one from the southern school, because coaches have 20 hours a week to put their work in and get things going.
Right.
Up north, you don't have any. You're indoors. You don't have a lot of chance to do relays, cutoffs, and relays and things like that. As 4-pitch walk right there. I would expect a visit maybe right here. You got a senior on the road here, struggling a little bit to put anybody away. He hasn't been able to consistently keep the ball in the strike zone and keep it down. No visit right there, but that's what happens. You get on the road, you get behind, start pitching in 1-0, 2-0, and 3-1 counts. You're going to get in trouble.
There's an interim pitching coach for Minnesota. Really a sad story, as Rob Fornacier is the usual pitching coach. You're taking a look at Scott Matus. That's actually Todd Oaks, excuse me. But Fornacier actually did not make the trip. Went through his second bout of leukemia, and so he is back there. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with him.
He is in remission the second time, but not traveling with the team.
It was actually Todd Oaks, excuse me. It's kind of a laughing with John Anderson, because it seems like there's a carousel, because there's so many different people that are really trying to fill in for that role, and it's obviously a close family. Take a look at Zane Gurwitz.
That was right at the bottom of the strike zone, and Gurwitz felt like it was down. And you want to execute in these situations. You can win a ball game right now in the second inning by getting the bunt down here, getting a base hit, sort of separate yourself in this game right now.
They are crashing. Gets the bunt down. Only plays at first. He makes it, but Gurwitz does his job, and 2 runners are in scoring position.
Well, those are huge plays when you get out there, get the bunt down, execute, give your team an opportunity. Now you're back to the top of the order, to one of the hottest hitters in the country right now, Ben Johnson. He's already tripled in the ball game. You get a base hit right here, and all of a sudden, if you're Minnesota, wow, we're on the road and we're down 4-0 in the second.
And it gets back to your keys. You got to get out early, and Minnesota are already down 2-0. Now they're at a point now where clearly they would like to limit this as much as they could. Infield is going to stay back, though, so they will give up a run. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
Best bender of the night. Fastball count went to a slider in a good location that time. Does have an open base here, but the thing about that is you have a left-handed hitter, Colin Shaw, behind it. You'd probably rather have the righty-righty matchup if you're Minnesota.
Colin Shaw on deck. He is 0 for 1, but Colin came in hitting .350.
A good quality at bat his last time up. All he's trying to do is hit a ground ball and give the Longhorns the lead. But if you're Meyer right here, you're thinking, how do I get a strikeout? I need a pop-up in the infield or a strikeout. But
this gets past Halloran, and this is going to bring home a run, the 3rd run of the game. Michael McCann scores for Texas.
Again, those are the little things that try to do right there. Tried to make the perfect pitch. Just couldn't get out there. Halloran just couldn't get to it. This comes up off of the synthetic turf. Catches him on the right shoulder. Couldn't get that right shoulder bent over. Just hops over his right shoulder. Back against the screen.
2-2 now to Johnson. Texas has been red hot the last 4 innings. 14 runs and 15 hits. then just reaches out. This is in left center. Modi will make the play, and Cantu not going to go anywhere.
Made a nice pitch there, got it right out on the end of the bat on a cutter. Had Ben Johnson out on his front foot. That was one of the best pitches for Meyer he's made in the inning. It's in a good location. Rhythm and timing is hitting, and he got him off timing right there.
He's made a couple good pitches, including that bender that you pointed out, which looked to be the best one he has thrown all game. Colin Shaw now up. Colin did his job back in the first inning. RBI ground out. Takes this to left field. This has some carry to it going back, and he can't make the play is Smith. One run is in. Shaw's on his way to third, and it's an RBI triple.
You talked about the hawk is out. Wind continues to blow here out to left. Gets a ball. Good inside out swing. Gets good extension on it. Gets up in the breeze. Smith has a tough time getting back as this ball just kept carrying all the way to the 375 sign in left center. Shaw with his great speed after it comes off the wall around to third. Well, I tell you, 2 really good, productive offensive innings for Texas, who jumps out to a 4-0 lead.
First triple of the year for Shaw. Brings up Hinojosa. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. CJ singled and scored a run back in the first.
Halloran with a nice job right there. He really smothers that one.
Senior battery here with Ben Meyer and Halloran. To short. Handle. Long throw. Nice scoop on the other end by Toby Hansen. And Texas is done here in the second. The Longhorns add a pair. They lead the Gophers by 4.
Longhorn.
Minnesota has some of the best baseball tradition you're going to find in college baseball. Won it all in '56, won it all in '60. Look at those classic uniforms. And then 1964 for their 3rd NCAA championship. Unreal. When you look at
that's a pretty good run in 8 years.
I'm about to say, and they've only been 5 times. They did their damage winning 3. You think about all the all-time programs that Minnesota has more national championships than. USC, LSU, and Texas are right up there. All those names stand out, but Minnesota has more titles than Stanford, South Carolina. They have 2 more than Florida State, 2 more than Clemson. I mean, there are some programs out there that you think college baseball before you think Minnesota, but you shouldn't.
Well, you just go back and you just look at the ACC conference and some of what they've had over the last 10 years. Virginia being as good as they're being, and University of Miami and Florida State. But Minnesota, like I said, we opened up the broadcast. And Paul Molitor and Dave Winfield came through old Clark Field when I played here from Minnesota, and they could play.
So that would have been 73, 74?
4 and 75. And then, of course, here they came back in 75. And we were here at Dish Falk.
Matt Halloran, the catcher. At 167. Parker French out in front, 0-2.
Looks a lot more calm, not overthrowing. Again, it's been ahead of almost every Golden Gopher that's come to the plate.
Halloran only had 19 at-bats last year. With 1 hit, it was a double. Kevin Dunn, Keith Moreland, Austin, Texas, 68 degrees. Beautiful night for baseball. Wind blowing out and also to left. Chop. Arlo able to get in front of that and There's one out. Texas and Minnesota, 9 combined titles, 40 combined CWS appearances. Texas leads the all-time head-to-head series, 67-22. All of those, Keith, in the regular season. They never met in Omaha.
And never met in the postseason. It never met in a regional. It's the 90th game between these two universities tonight.
Parker French able to knock it down, and Keith, I'm pretty sure that now he has gone through all 9 hitters. All 9 were first pitch strikes. That was your key.
I thought it was a big key for him, and it is. When he's ultra successful, he's pitching ahead. Again, he makes the hitter defensive at that point. Then he's able to use his secondary pitches with his slider and his change, or even the two-seamer where he really tries to bring it back door against the right-handers. Strike one, and now 10 consecutive batters.
Dan Modi grounded out. Programs, but also coaches. Brooks Marlowe swings over that. Get back to what you're talking about.
Over
with Brooks.
3,000. Yeah, over 3,000 wins between these two.
Isn't that nuts?
It's amazing.
We're going to illustrate that all weekend. Obviously, Minnesota maybe not a premier program anymore, although they're trying to get back up there. As Brooks Marlowe with a hit, and Texas has had the leadoff man on every inning.
Yeah, leadoff triple, single that came in to score, leadoff triple came in to score. Marlowe did a nice job. We were talking about keeping that front side in there. Did a nice job of keeping his front shoulder in there. Watch his approach right here. His front shoulder goes to the baseball right there and then rotates as the backside comes through. Nice job of catching it right on the barrel for the base hit.
7 Texas hitters have reached base tonight, and we're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Trace Barrera singled, continued his hot streak, got an RBI, and just laced one right back up the middle. As Keith said, put on a show with the wind blowing out the left in BP.
And it continues to blow that direction. Right now, Myers' breaking ball not near as sharp as it'll be later on in the season. You can see it rolling a little bit out of his hand. It doesn't have that quick snap that it'll have as he gets deeper into the season.
And therefore, strike 1 and 2.
That's a good location. He's got 2 options here to come back. If you're Meyer, you come back, try to bounce the breaking ball. If you can get something going to, for me, you just with a guy that's a big, strong power hitter, you got to come off the plate if you're going to go fastball here, or breaking ball down and away from him, maybe even bounce it. As he did, putting the right pattern. Now, a lot of times guys will come right back and go, all right, it's not good to back up same pitches. As a catcher right here, if you're calling a game, I'm thinking back off the plate here now with the fastball and see if you can get Barrera to chase a fastball, not in the strike zone and not throwing at the hitter. I'm talking about off the plate in.
Well, they tried to, almost didn't get in enough.
Just almost didn't get in. So they're working on a pattern. That's one of the things that young pitchers and catchers, you can always think, what are you trying to do? And as a hitter here, you're thinking too, what's he doing? And Trace, being a catcher himself and setting up hitters, he's thinking, well, they're going to double up sometimes. So right now would be a good time to double up and go back with the fastball in.
Lifted in the air to right field. Boxwell underneath it, and there's one out. Not an easy guy to retire right now. Good sequencing.
It was a good sequencing. Boxwell surrounded that ball at the end. it is tough to play sometimes. These guys have been inside, folks. I know if you just tuned in our broadcast, Minnesota, you know, it's been a tremendous amount of snow. It's been a really rough winter up north, and they're outside for only the second weekend of the year. We've got a real tough win here. You said before the game, there's going to be some adventures in the outfield. It's the first thing you said to me. There was one right there, but Boxwell got it done.
Well, from Boxwell to Boswell, Brett Boswell 0 for 1. The Texas third baseman struck out back in the first. And Meyer went slower and slower with Boswell the first time around. Chop foul, and Russ tried to barehand it.
Sometimes you show leadership in a lot of different fashions, and I think as a pitcher, sometimes you're a fifth-year senior, as Meyer is. He's had a little bit of a struggle. He's given up 6 hits already. He doesn't have his great stuff and great command. You can tell he's battling through it right here, but he's continued to give his team an opportunity and being out there. And that's sometimes leadership comes in different fashions. Like, hey, I know my team's got 36 innings to play over the course of the next 3 days. It's hard on any team in collegiate baseball. Well, you say, well, big league teams do it. Yeah, big league teams have 11 or 12 guys that are all getting paid to pitch.
And they're in the big leagues for a reason.
That's exactly right. So, you know, but most programs, the depth that you have when you have to play, you know, 4 9-inning games over 3 days, Meyer's got to help his team out right now by giving his team some length and keeping his team somewhat in the game.
And they know he doesn't have his best stuff. They've seen his best stuff before. Fouls that out near the burger place. You see the smoke wafting over.
Boy, yeah, I can smell it.
Yeah, I already had one.
I saw it. I saw it earlier. I was jealous.
There you go.
I knew when we left the field you went one direction. I said, wonder where Kevin's going.
There you go, Drew. Our producer said, where are you going? I go, I got to go this way to get a burger. Gets in on him. This could be an adventure with the way the wind's moving, but Modi had it. And there's 2 outs.
But after changing speed, 4 of the 6 pitches that Boswell had seen, that time he came back with the fastball and got in on him on the fastball. A nice job by Meyer. Combining his pitches.
He and Halloran, the battery, the 2 seniors, they do have a plan.
And they're trying to attack the best they can.
Here's Michael McCann. Singled and scored back in the second. Oh, excuse me. McCann, a true freshman. I think he feels like he definitely will be part of this offense. They think he's going to be a pretty good catcher down the road as well. Good breaker.
Well, as I said right there, that's what I liked. It was a good breaking ball. Probably a pitch that McCann would like to have back, not swing at it, but when he let it go, you can see the bat speed. He lets it go. He's not afraid he's not afraid to attack.
0-2 goes back to it, and Meyer gives up the leadoff hit to Marlowe, but strands him. Texas leads 4-0 after 3.
Parker Fritz, third of the ball game in the books. He's been outstanding tonight. 7 ground ball outs in the first inning. He got 3 routine ground balls. Well, the third one wasn't routine, as Boswell does a nice job coming up with a play there. But a lot of ground balls, a lot of hitters way out in front. 7 times he's got outs of the 9 outs on ground balls. 10 batters Parker has faced. Strike 1 on all 10 on the first pitch.
That was your #1 key for Parker French in having success. If you want to get those ground outs, get ahead in the count. He's done that, and the grounders have been there.
He's been really good so far. He has given up the base hit, but he's been ahead of every hitter. And the other part that I like is we've seen a little better breaking ball than we saw last week. A little better command of it so far.
Connor Schaefbauer, two-hole man, and that was, just as you say that, he bounces that one.
Well, if you can, as a pitcher, Skip Johnson will tell you, my pitcher can go out and the first 10 batters he faces, he's got to strike one, he's going to be in good shape. Well, he's got a 4-0 lead.
Here is Skip. He feels like he has the arms. Losing Morgan Cooper really changes the outlook of this pitching staff.
Yes, it does. I mean, it's a guy like that, it's hard to replace. But you have talent. You have arms. Now, experienced talent, that's a different subject. And that's why you play these games this time of the year, to find out which of those guys you're going to plug in to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday starters.
So it's not only about the talent and the arms, it's about roles.
It's about the role that they play.
Look at Morgan Cooper. 12 all-freshman team last year was just dynamite pretty much the whole year, and he's going to be out dealing with Tommy John surgery. So like a lot of these guys we've seen all over the country, hopefully he can come back and maybe the velo's even up a little bit.
Well, they've really done a good job with that surgery, I'll tell you.
You knew Tommy John, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, there were times that a lot of us knew you hated to hear, a pitcher hated to hear.
Right. It has changed. The win, this could be tough. Left center, it's slicing and it's in. A leadoff double for Schaefbauer, who led the club in hitting a year ago.
Well, does a nice job. You can tell that breeze blowing out, gets his ball out over the way, puts a good swing on it, catches it on the head of the bat. But the breeze really pushed this out of reach of Ben Johnson. Ball was away from him, elevated. First time we've seen Parker elevate something. That fastball elevated. Rode the breeze, one hops the wall.
Splits Gerwitz and Johnson. Second double this season for Schaefbauer, who's got some pretty good speed. Sets it up for Matt Fiedler, three-hole hitter. And that grounded out to Boswell back in the first.
That's a good putter. That's another pitch that Parker's worked a little bit on. It's not really the slider. Instead of throwing the sinker, he's trying to put a little pressure on another finger, get it the ball to run a little bit the other way. That was a good pitch right there. Best one we've seen Parker throw tonight.
Outside. Yeah, it seems like he can go with a lot of things now. A four-seam fastball, his sinker, a slider, and a cutter, and a changeup.
You know, he's a veteran guy, and it's been around for on. He's had an excellent instructor in Skip to teach him the different style and different type of pitches. I think he's become more of a pitcher than a thrower. He's never really been a pure thrower, but he's relied a lot on the fact that I got a fastball that really moves. Now he's mixing pitches. You know, it's like selling real estate. It's location, location, location.
1-2. He does his job moving the base runner over. There's one out.
Well coached team. Coach Anderson, play the game. Do the little things. Yes, you're down 4-0, but hey, we're only in the 4th inning. Get a leadoff double, get him over, get him in. We're on the board. Try to crawl back in the ball game. And they got their hottest hitter, not their best hitter, coming to the plate here.
This is Toby Hansen, good-looking young hitter. The average at 500. Early on in the year, but as Keith mentioned earlier, Coach Anderson feels like he, Boxwell, the other freshmen, are going to be pretty physical offensive players for this club. And right away, too, he said they're the kids that stepped in and they could just play. Nice changeup, pulled the string on that.
Yes, he did. Excellent motion with it. Great time to do it, too. He's a hitter right here. I'm getting dead red. No, I'm not. His parachute comes out on about halfway to the plate.
Infield is back. They will give up a run for an out. Outside. What have you seen being a former big league catcher from the true freshman Michael Cantu behind the plate?
You know, he really receives the ball well. I think the other part that's impressive, when you stand beside it, you just cannot believe how big a young man he is.
He's
I do
huge.
too after this pitch here. But he does a nice job of getting low, getting a nice concealed target. His target doesn't come up right in the good hitting zone above the belt. He gets a nice low target. He does a nice job getting in a crouch for a big man. He's learning how to call a game. Right now he's getting some help from the dugout, but that's something he'll learn.
And of course, as we bring that up, he's going to go ahead and come down. He can go and peg that one on me, but Minnesota with their first run.
This is just almost like he got crossed up. It was almost like he was fixing to throw or something was happening. He just gets crossed up. That ball broke on him. Just didn't secure it. He's a good receiver. They just haven't seen that ball. That's a pass ball. There's no doubt it leads to an unearned run with the pass ball.
And he loses Hansen, so a one-out base runner for Minnesota. Already a run in. And see if Michael Handel, senior leader, can help him out. Led them in slugging.
That's why the game of baseball is so unique. It's 9 full frames. Each one of them you feel like it's like, well, it's the end of the quarter. when you get 3 outs, you're just cruising along, and then all of a sudden, find trouble.
This could be 2.
That's how you get out of trouble.
To Marlowe, it certainly is. 6-4-3, Keith, pitcher's best friend.
But he makes a nice pitch. What a great feed by CJ. Marlowe's turns the double play. But I tell you what, pitchers absolutely turn and say, thank you.
My favorite character from baseball, I would have to say Wild Thing from Major League. I love that movie. We'd always watch it on road trips in high school, but he's one of my all-time favorites. I came to Texas because here at Texas you're expected to win, and what better way to win than at a great university like this.
True freshman Michael Cantu, Corpus Christi Moody High School, and a lot of people thought he would not be in college because a lot of pro scouts liked what he did. Now, outside of me jinxing him, the kid had been so good defensively, Keith. I bring him up, and of course he gets a pass ball. Funny how that works. What have you really liked from Cantu?
Well, again, I'd like to. I have not seen him drop a ball any time, and he does right there and makes a mistake, costs his team a run. But he receives the ball well. Again, he gets a good low target. I think he moves well behind the plate to block. He's got an excellent arm throw. I mean, I'm talking about in that ratio where you go, wow. That's how he does it. So he's got that factor. In the other part, I think before he's done here, he's going to be a guy that is in college baseball, when you say a guy's got 10 to 15 home run power, 15 home runs in college baseball is a bunch.
Especially now.
Especially now. So he's got that type of power. He's a guy that could leave the ballpark 10 to 15 times a collegiate season.
You talked about his size, 6'3", 237. He is all of that, and not a lot of fat on the young man. He's only going to get bigger.
Still deciding today. You and I were sitting around the cage, and I was looking at him and going, they grow him big in Corpus Christi.
Yes, they do. And Moody's been playing good baseball
yes, they
forever.
Have.
Augie was very happy to get Cantu on campus. Feels like he has really a lot of depth at the catching spot. And Cantu will take his second 4-pitch walk. I believe he's seen 8 pitches.
Well, and again, really hurt the Gophers last week in Houston. They gave up 25 hits, but they had 17 walks to go with that over the course of a 3-game set. You can't give good teams base runners, and Texas has had the leadoff base runner reach base in all 4 innings of the ball game.
And Minnesota only took 5 walks, so they were up there definitely swinging, as Zane Gurwitz is going to be up there swinging and not running. You know, I think about some of the Augie teams, Keith, and go back especially to '95, the Kotsay Giambi team. He bunted early, but I remember seeing him in '95 and '96. They would swing. If he's got an offense, he'll let him swing the bats a little bit.
And Coach Garrido both turned to you and I. We were around the cage today and said, it's a good day to hit, isn't it? And I said, yeah. So he understands that you get a ball airborne right now, you can get a couple in a hurry. So, and Zane Gurwitz has got a little pop in his bat.
He does. But I think especially the previous few years with the baseball and also with the talent he had in the lineup, he was looking just to get one if he could. No matter what was going on, as this is hit out to left, and Smith will make the play for the first out.
You know, I agree with that, but you go back to the 2009 team. He started the year bunting a little bit, but as that team progressed along, they went to the finals of the College World Series. He allowed them to swing the bat. He didn't do it as much. He sort of understands his teams and what they can do. And if they're going to be a team that can't hit a lot of extra bases, not going to have a big slugging percentage, he'll use the sacrifice. But if he sees a team that can slug, and I mean, if you have an OPS of, you know, as a team right at 750 as a team, you're going to let them go.
Yeah.
It's when you're under 700s when you think, well, I better play base to base.
In 2010, he let him go. They had a school record 81 home runs. 2005 and 2002, you saw that. They certainly would bunt, but Dustin Majewski, Omar Quintanilla, you can go through the list. Both those clubs had some guys that could really swing it. Seth Johnston in 2005.
Yeah. They could hit. Jeff Ontiveros could hit.
Yes, he could. There's Ben Johnson. He has been proving he can hit this season. Led the Texas first off with the triple and came around to score the game's first run. Augie told me he thinks that this guy has the best major league potential out of anyone on the roster. He's just saying, just physically, just how strong he is and how fast he is.
I agree.
Backing up, Shefty, and he'll make the play. Excuse me, Handle.
When you look at Ben, he's one of those guys that he's had 3 years now full-time committed to play baseball. He is a strong upper body young man and really can run. I mean, can really run. And the other part that goes with that, he's learning to become a much better defensive player and use his speed to understand angles and do the things you need to do in the outfield. In other words, he has the ability to be a 5-tool guy. They're in there. He's just got to mold them to figure out how to get those 5 tools to work.
We talked about Augie not liking expectations. I don't think Darrell Royal liked the word potential.
No.
And that's what he has the potential to be a 5-tool player. To short, Handle will make the play. And Colin Shaw is out. Texas done here in the 4th. We're going to talk with the head man, Augie Garrido, when we get back. Welcome back. Texas leading Minnesota 4-1 as we head to the 5th inning. Joining us now, the head baseball coach for Texas, Augie Garrido. And Coach, I know last week you said after the start against Rice, Parker maybe didn't have his best stuff, but he battled through it. Where's his stuff tonight?
I think it's at a higher level. I think his overall body language is one of confidence and presence and really sticking to the purpose of his game, which is throwing strikes and getting ground balls.
Coach, you know me, I'm looking at the offensive side. I felt like 12 of the first 13 at-bats you had were quality at-bats, doing the things that it takes to be a good offensive team.
I agree with that. We hit some really hard line drives, and we forced the pitcher into a different game. Probably a game he doesn't like to pitch, having to mix in more off-speed pitches and breaking balls.
And aren't there times, though, Coach, when you talk about a player can go to the plate, maybe not get a base hit, but it's a good at-bat?
Absolutely. There's a lot of that, and we need to reward each other here in the dugout when they do that.
Coach, been fun to watch. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Coach Augie Garrido getting ready for this 4-game set. He was excited talking to him before the game, and he said, I really like the makeup of my club, but I want to find out what this club's going to be, because like you said earlier, he is one of the reasons he's been so successful in 47 years. He will evolve with the team.
Yes, he will. And he'll use what they, and I think he figures out, and he's figured out that this team can play defense. You got so many returners in the middle of the field. Your outfield defense is exceptional. Your shortstop and second baseman, exceptional defensively. You're looking at the young guys on the corner. You know you've got some guys that are talented in those spots, but how can they play? So this is a team where he's looking to see who are those 5 to 6 guys that are going to be the guys on the mound. Because I really believe that this is going to be an offensive team of guys that are going to stay together and be there all year, barring injury.
Jordan Smith leading it off from Minnesota. 1-1 count. You'd think Texas fans would feel optimistic, though, and if pitching is going to be the issue, is C.J. Hinojosa makes the throw over, and there's 1 out. You got Skip Johnson there, who usually has answers.
And he's got arms. It's just putting it in there. This is another good sinker right there. Pitching ahead, attacking the hitters. Parker got away from that a little bit. And again, arms are there. It's just a matter of getting them in the right direction, allowing them to mechanically get right. And then that last part is when the lights come on and they walk between the white line and there's 7,000 people in the stadium, how are they going to react?
Tony Shefty. Shefty's 0 for 1. Grounded out to Hinojosa back in the 2nd inning. And that's a fair ball past Boswell. Shefty going for second. Here comes the throw. And he's in there. Good hustle. And a 1-out double.
Well, this is good effort by every young man that's on the field. Shefty doing his job hustling, but it's a great effort by Boswell to get to it. And then watch Johnson here. He does everything he can do and almost throws him out at second base. Gets to the ball quickly, rounds it, comes up and makes a strong, accurate throw. Just not in time. That's good. That's good hustle on everybody's part right there.
Good baseball all the way around. A chance for Minnesota to try and cut the lead down. Matt Halloran, the catcher. Grounded out to Brooks Marlowe at second, back in the 3rd. Kevin Dunn, Keith Moore, beautiful night here for college baseball. Game 1 between Minnesota and Texas of a 4-game set. We got a double dip tomorrow as this ball's hit to right field. Underneath it is Shaw. There's going to be no tag, and that was off the end of the bat, but it's not going to go anywhere with that wind that's blowing from right to left. So Shaw able to get underneath it.
Yeah, it was a ball up. There's no carry from right center to the right field line. The ball doesn't carry very well. Shaw right there. Parker's made a few mistakes. Again, he made a little mistake and left that ball up that time. That was a change he was trying to. He's shown a couple of good ones, but that time he left it up in the zone.
Here's Alex Boxwell. Minnesota's 0 for 6 with runners on and 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. No problem there. Not sure if that won't go down as a wild pitch.
Oh, it will. There's not much you can do. As you're a catcher, you always anticipate the fastball to get to you in the air. The toughest pitch to block is the fastball, because you don't anticipate a college pitcher as good as Parker Fritz is going to throw the ball in the dirt. Again, that's that anticipation and expectations get you in trouble.
Right. Well, I've seen him backhand a couple of fastballs in the dirt, and I always think about what you said. That's the hardest ball for a catcher because you're not anticipating it, but he's shown the skills to do that. That did go down as a wild pitch.
This is a turning point of the ball game right here. Minnesota will stay in this game if they can get a base hit right here. So this is, as a catcher and a pitcher, hey, we got to concentrate right here, get this 3rd out, and don't let this run score.
Blocked by Cantu, and it's 3-0 to the 9-hole hitter Boxwell, who came in, the true freshman, leading the club and hit him.
That's a nice job right there, getting his body out there in front. Ball came back to him. Smothered it.
Strike is in there. That was the first 3-0 count for Parker of the game. A little pour in a strike.
Good hitter's pitch coming here, though. You got to make a good pitch right now.
3-1 to Boxwell. He's at 93, and not much Alex could do with that.
Yeah, reached back, got a little more, tied him up inside right there. Crowd should get into it. This is a big pitch.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Minnesota, the runner on third. It's upstairs, and Cantu still liked the location of that, even though they do lose him.
Got to reach back and over through that just a little bit, understanding how important the out was. That was just his 60th pitch of the ball game, though. Think about that. He threw 5 frames, 4 2/3. Minnesota not a big running team. They're more of a physical team, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast. You know, they hit the ball in the ballpark, slugging percentage that time. They don't do a lot of running.
No, they tried to hit and run earlier today. They only attempted 3 stolen bases in Houston. Connor Schaefbauer is a guy who can run pretty well. Top of the lineups, Dan Modi. Modi looking for his first hit. He's grounded out and struck out. Would
not be surprised to see Skip Johnson make his way to the mound here, and he does. It's just one of those things that you look at mechanically. He only threw 6 balls out of the first 30 pitches outside of the zone. In the next 30 pitches, it's been a lot different situation. He's about 50-50 balls and strikes.
Wow. Well, don't forget the baseball series against Minnesota continues this weekend right here on Longhorn Network. On Saturday, there are 2 games at 3 and 6 Central. Both of those 9-inning games. Then on Sunday at 1, Longhorn baseball all weekend right here on Longhorn Network. Excited to be back for the 2015 season. Excited there's some more offense to college baseball. And the Longhorns looking to get back to Omaha for the 36th time. Blew that by him, 2-1.
Well, there's certain times hey, fastball's coming. You got to tell the hitter, he knows it. You got to make your pitch. He did that right there.
Hinojosa will backhand it. Gets rid of it quickly. He knows Modi can run. He was getting down the line, and a nice play to save a run and get Texas out of the inning.
He did a nice job of setting your feet before you make the throw. Hinojosa right there, feet set, ball comes out of his hand.
Welcome back. Texas leading Minnesota 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Some Gopher fans in town enjoying the good weather and some college baseball. Joining us now, a legend in the sport in his 34th year, it's John Anderson. And Coach, you actually came down here and took on my partner back in the 70s. Austin's changed a little bit, hasn't it?
Sure has. It's grown. It's a beautiful city and beautiful ballpark here. So it's just a wonderful college environment.
Coach, you told us before the game that Ben was going to be this type of guy. Struggled a little bit early, but boy, he really has found himself and given you some length now to stay in the game.
Yeah, he's a sinker guy, and I thought he was a little too strong early. The ball was up in the zone, didn't have much sink to it, and I think the game gone along, he's a little tired. I think he's had a little better sink to his ball and been able to locate the fastball a little better. He's gotten a few more breaking balls and changeups over to keep him off balance.
Coach, we look forward to this weekend. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
John Anderson, 34 years. It's amazing what.
6-time Big 12 Coach of the Year.
Big 10 Coach of the Year.
Big 10,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, it should be Big 12.
Well, they have 12 teams.
But that's a different story.
They actually have more than that now, right. With Rutgers and Maryland coming into the league.
There's C.J. Hinojosa. But there's no doubt what John's been able to do there. He played for Coach Siebert there, and He really is Minnesota baseball. He got injured in '75 when they came down, but Coach Siebert said, I want you to stick around. I want you to be part of the program. And he said, lo and behold, I never thought I'd be here right now.
Well, and he's just been a part of the program for all that time, and he's really done an outstanding job.
Sinker slider guy, and he goes with the Frisbee slider, and well, Toby Hansen couldn't deal with it. And I don't want to make too many excuses, but these guys have not seen a lot of fly balls.
And they haven't seen fly balls in this breeze, and outside again. They've been indoors quite a bit. He stumbles right here. That little bit of stumble right there. It just, when that happens, your eyes start to bounce. When your feet bounce and stumble, your eyes bounce. And just lifted it off of it, and the wind that played a factor right there as well.
Obvious E3, so CJ will take first base, and Toby Hansen's also still adjusting to playing first base. He caught a lot, but like Texas, they've got a backload of catchers. This is interim pitching coach Scott Mattis, and Mattis, mentioned earlier, is in for Todd Oaks, who's the pitching coach who is dealing with leukemia and back at home.
And I think the pitch count, I think we're going to have a pitching change, and it's about pitch count right here at 82 pitches.
We'll give you the numbers on Toby Anderson when we get back.
Hollywood's.
Welcome back. Ben Meyers' day is done. He gets pulled after an error on Toby Hansen, led off the bottom of the 5th inning. So Toby Anderson is going to be your new pitcher. As you take a look at Meyers' numbers and what he was able to do. A run on first base would be an unearned run. We take a look at Toby Anderson, 6'5", tall drink of water. He is from Nampa, Idaho, went to Skyview High School as a sophomore right-handed pitcher, and well, this will be his 2nd game of the season.
Well, he's a sinker slider guy, throws across his body, big 6'5" right-hander. Doesn't use a lot of change-ups, doesn't have a big curveball. He's going to try to sink the ball in to the right-handers and slider him away, use the sinker away, an occasional change-up to a left-hander. They feel like this is that guy, the role he fits is in that middle part where he can give you some length. Struggle with his command against Houston last week. And again, pitching usually from teams out of the north is behind because they haven't had the opportunity to pitch outside in inter-squad games and those kind of things. The hitters are usually on time. The pitchers are a little behind the time. So the 2nd week in a row, see how Toby Anderson responds this week.
Here's Brooks Marlowe, 1 for 2. Singled his last time up in the 3rd inning. And this is what the point I was maybe getting back to. This is when I think a lot of Texas fans are expecting Augie in Texas to be bunting right here.
And I just don't think you'll see that as much this year because this is a veteran, better offensive club. Now I say that if they prove they can't be a good offensive club, Coach Garrido's he's going to find a way to put his team in the best position to win.
Yeah.
So, you know, right now he feels like that. Hey, these guys have earned the opportunity to swing the bat, and I think they'll get more chances early.
Three 3-0 to make him throw a strike.
Again, Anderson struggled with the strike zone in Houston last week against a good offensive club in the University of Houston.
Houston is top 6, top 7 in every poll. Catches the zone, 3-1.
Now, I will say that Coach Garrido will run in these scenarios where he, at times, we used to bunt, but 3-1 is a good run and hit count. It's not hit and run. You run, and if the pitcher throws a ball, you take as a hitter.
Hinojosa not going. And Marlowe takes first base. Base on balls.
That's a chance to separate yourself again here offensively. I don't believe that Barrera will be bunting here.
No. But we'll see. Trace has been red hot. Singleton had an RBI back in the 1st. He's going to show
that he scores to bunt.
And he gets it down. That's going to be foul, though. Job by Halloran to let that roll foul. Here's what he did on Tuesday, and Bunning was not involved.
Well, he does a nice job. The first inning, this was impressive to me. Stayed with the ball away. Then as the game went on, he started to get pitches he could hammer. He gets this ball, lines it into the gap, and this is a touch them all piece here. There was no doubt when it left the bat. It was out of here. Had a huge night on Tuesday night. Already a big night here tonight with an RBI single.
Was not showing bunt there. 1-1. Wind is blowing out to left. Has been all day.
Anderson wanted that pitch that time. Tried to backdoor a two-seamer with the sinker. Didn't get the call. This is a big pitch here for Anderson. He wants to try to get out of this inning. Can't make a mistake right now.
Hinojosa at second, Marlowe at first. And even a bigger pitch coming up at 3-1. You would think he is zoning in on something.
Very good hitter. The fastball from the waist up. Good high ball hitter. So if you're going to zone out, look for the ball up.
That misses, and they are loaded with nobody out. An error and 2 walks as Texas in business.
And as you walk in right there as the pitcher, you talk to your senior catcher and say, where are those pitches? Man, I got to have those pitches.
You're talking to him, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, you're giving me some help back there, aren't you? And they just missed it.
Yeah, you got to probably feel like a child in the middle when you're catching at times, because you don't want to go back there and give too much lip, because you still have to go hit and you're talking to the guy.
I think the corners will play in as they do and play for the double play in the middle, and that's the way Minnesota's going to play it right here. I think that's where you've got to play it defensively here. You bring your corners in because it's tough to go 5-4-3 or 3-6-3 to double play, but they'll come to the plate. Pitcher will come to the plate, but the ball in the middle infielders will go for the double play in the middle.
That makes sense. Boswell hits this to right. Going back is Boxwell. Going back, and it's going to fall. Ground rule double for Brett Boswell. The wind did not help that out, but Alex had some problems getting back there. 6-1 Texas.
Well, it actually held it up right at the end. I don't think there's a doubt that he might have hit that ball out of the ballpark right there. But the wind held it up, and Boxwell just had a tough time. You could see at the last minute, Kevin, as he reached back for it, up the zone, Boswell puts a really nice swing on it. Great fluid swing, gets good extension on it. This ball's really tagged, folks. Wind's knocking it down right here, but Boxwell goes back. See him overrun it. He just can't get to it. He can't find it as it gets knocked down. He thinks it's over his shoulder. Boy, that's a big blow right there.
Second double of the season for Boswell. 6-1 Texas. McCann swinging at the first pitch. Michael singled and scored in the second, struck out in the third. True freshman from right here in the Austin area, to Cedar Ridge High School in the Round Rock.
Well, Boswell does a nice job here, not overrunning Trace Barrera at first base. I was watching the baseball, but I looked down and saw where Barrera was going back to tag. And boy, that's a dangerous thing. As a hitter right there, you've got to make sure you know where your teammates are.
Let's take a look at it, Keith.
As a hitter right here, you hit a ball and you can't round him. You got to get right there. And he had to stop and knew that it was okay. He didn't get that shoulder around him, but if he gets his shoulder around Barrera, there's all kinds of things going on. There's outs everywhere. People put back in certain spots.
Should Tress be tagging there?
Absolutely not. With one out, maybe. With no outs, you got to be halfway to score. The ball bounces off the wall.
And
you got to be all the way to nearly to second. He's lucky all that didn't happen.
It was a ground rule double, so it's a moot point. First out of the inning, though, for Minnesota on the strikeout of McCann, his second strikeout in a row.
These young hitters coming to the plate right now. Got to make contact. Little things you do offensively right there is to make contact. Now, same thing for Cantu. Here, got to come to the plate, spread your stance a little bit, stay in the middle of the diamond, ground ball to short or second, and your team gets another run. Take advantage of it.
Cantu has 2 walks, has scored a run. Ball 1.
It has not been a big strike zone.
No,
it's been that way for both sides all night.
It has. It's in there 1-1. Cantu, very smart young man as well. One of the reasons he did not go pro. Remember the National Honor Society, he ranked 7th in his senior class.
I can tell you where I could be in that. I'd be 7th from the bottom.
Right, you may have been 7, but there were 10 people in your class.
That's exactly right.
And 3 of them weren't splitting atoms.
That's exactly.
He had a pitch to hit there. Fouls it back.
Again, this is where the little things that you learn as a hitter about production and what offense is. You know, you look at Michael Cantu, he was probably hitting 3rd or 4th in the lineup, and he was the main part of Corpus Christi Moody's offense. But you get to college, it's about, and then into pro ball, it's about playing offense. What do I got to do right here to help my team? And a ground ball to short of second helps you.
This will help too. Fights it off into right center. 1 run is home. It is 8-1 Texas. They have blown this thing wide open. A 2-run, 2 RBI single for Michael Cantu.
Well, I like the fact that you can tell he shortened his swing. This is a mistake, but this is a short swing. See, watch his stride. It's not much to it. Inside out the ball. Don't think about hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He just reaches out, makes sure he makes contact on a mistake upstairs, and takes advantage of it and drives in a couple. That's good. That's good hitting right there.
8 of 9 Texas players have hits, all but the guy at the plate, Zane Gurwitz. Keith, Greg, and I were laughing Tuesday when you get in those situations. There's always one guy when everyone's having a party, and he's not getting in on it.
Yeah, you hate to be that one guy. You hate to be that way.
Oh, 2 to Gurwitz. Zane, a sophomore from San Antonio. Dealing with a little bit of a hamstring pull.
Well, he can really hit the ball the other way. When he starts to get going, he starts driving the ball to right center and right field. When Zane gets his stroke down, that's where you'll see him hit a lot of balls. Now, he can't turn and drive it, but when he's hot, when he's doing the things right, he goes the other way extremely well.
Rung him up on a fastball. 89 miles per hour. And Gurwitz is down on strikes.
That's a good pitch. Good location. Get across his body. Lines up, pitches from the third base side of the rubber, strides to third base and comes back across his body to the outside. Really difficult on a right-handed hitter if you can pinpoint that corner.
Nice job by Toby Anderson. Now an out way of getting out of the 5th. Top of the lineup, Ben Johnson. There's 1 for 3. Triple on a run scored back in the 1st.
We talked about that. Coach Anderson thought that Toby Anderson, you know, you could get that feel just talking to him. He talked about the fact, you know, we wanted to get this guy in. He's got the type of stuff. He just hasn't been able to control the strike zone yet. The command of the strike zone. You're pitching behind 2-0, 3-1. You're going to have trouble. And so you've got to find a way to get that strike one because he's got the ability. You can tell the way the ball comes out of his hands and the mix of pitches he has from his arm slot that he's going to be really tough at times on right-handed hitters.
You can tell it's going to be that sinker slider action. Yeah. Really, that's all we've seen from our three arms tonight. Sinker slider type guys. This is to right field. Wind will help out Boxwell here. And he makes the play. Texas done here in the fifth, but they blow open with a force spot. They get a little help from the Gophers, and then Brett Boswell launches one. Michael Cantu backs it up. It's all Texas and Austin.
Welcome back to the state capital of Texas. Texas with an 8-1 lead. One run, as you can see there on 3 hits, one miscue, Kevin. And the top of that, or the bottom of that fifth inning, really opened the floodgates a little bit for Texas. Parker French out for his 6th inning of work. He has been outstanding. Pitch count's down. He's been exceptional. The first 10 hitters of the ball game, he was ahead strike one on. His first 30 pitches of the ball game, he's fixing to throw his 65th pitch, I think was impressive. 24 of them in the strike zone, only 6 outside the strike zone.
Do you think he's tiring at all when you look at him right now? Because I know Augie and Skip said they don't want him to go too far too early.
They don't. Skip Johnson says, I don't really want to put a number on it, but I said, well, Skip, what are you thinking? 75 to 80? He's, yeah, no more than that. So I would think this is probably his last frame right here.
2, 3, and 4 for Minnesota. Schaefbauer swinging at the first pitch. CJ to Tres, and 1 pitch, 1 out. That'll keep you in the game.
It will. I think that's the biggest improvement from CJ Hinojosa that we've seen over the course of his career. He's a really good defender. But I think now he's understood when he needs to lay back, when he needs to attack. There are times, especially for young shortstop, we'll get to it after this pitch here.
This is Matt Fiedler.
There's times when shortstops have a tendency to not read the ball as well off the bat. I think he's doing a much better job of understanding quickly what I've got to do, when I've got to attack, when I've got to lay back, when I have to get rid of it. He's done it twice in this game where he had to attack, come get it. The next time, he had to set his feet before he got to the baseball because the guy's quick and he's got a long throw. So you can see that mental preparation between pitches. This pitch downstairs. One of the things that I always talk about to young players is thinking position, ready position. There's a thinking position to know, hey, what am I going to do if this happens to me? So prepare for that mentally before it happens.
One guy coming to Texas baseball camps as a kid who taught that, the thinking position, ready position, mental position, and then you get go, is Ty Harrington.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Give Ty a little shout out. One of our very good friends, and he's dealing with, we talked about Coach Oaks, Todd Oaks, the pitching coach from Minnesota earlier, is dealing with cancer.
There's no doubt.
Ty is as well, and our thoughts and prayers are with him.
Ty's been a great friend for a long, long time. He is at Texas State. We wish him the best there, but he's always going to be a Longhorn to me.
Yep.
And we wish him the best of luck. He's going to take an extended leave of absence. Get well soon, Ty, and hope to see you soon.
I know one thing. I know he's a Bobcat, obviously, but he watches a lot of our games, and watching Parker French ring up Fiedler. Parker is rolling, but Ty is one of the best guys you're going to ever meet, and was a lifetime Longhorn. Always will be. 2 outs for Toby Hansen. Hansen has impressed you, has he not?
He has. I like his approach. He keeps his hands back. He stands tall. You can tell he's got a real physicalness to him and an idea of the strike zone. I think that's what's impressed me is you don't see him swinging at pitches. The game is slowed down for a true freshman, even though he's faced a good pitcher tonight and a senior veteran right-handed pitcher.
You were the same way. Greg Swindell, my other partner, guys that just came in and were all Americans as freshmen. Doesn't seem like there's any pill for that. You just either can do it or you can't. CJ was able to do it and throws out the freshman Toby Hansen. That was not an easy play.
Sets his feet early, gets rid of it, strong arm to get the out. This is outstanding.
tonight's game summary, powered by the slick new Chevy Silverado.
When you look at Parker French, he's been outstanding. 13 ground balls, 7 of them to C.J. Hinojosa. Texas has spread out the offense, good quality at bats. When you have 8 out of 9 guys in your lineup for getting base hits, you're going to put some runs on the board. With an 8th spot, leading 8-1, behind in the count has been the 5th term of the night for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Their starters, both Ben Meyer and Coach, Mr. Johnson in the game right now. Both Toby Johnson, they have both not been able to get strike one. They've been 2-0, 3-1 on a lot of Texas hitters. It's tough to pitch like that.
No doubt about that. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th. It's Colin Shaw, C.J. Hinojosa, Brooks Marlowe, 2, 3, and 4 scheduled for Texas. Shaw, 1 for 3. He's got a triple. Also an RBI. That was back in the 2nd inning. He seems to have really gotten better offensively now that he has gotten into his senior year.
I like his approach a little better. He's not as tied up. And we get a great opportunity to see a view right here. He's a little more square when he gets into the plate. When you see his view, he'll stand up. He doesn't have as closed a stance. It's allowed him to be open because he's a dive hitter.
Fair ball down the line, Keith. Able to open up right there just as Zonk was talking about it. And Shaw in with a leadoff double.
I think players make adjustments, and he's done a nice job of make that adjustment. Is to get more eyes, more open, his shoulders able to clear right here. Once his hips clear, that allows him to get the barrel of the bat through the ball. When those front side, gets his front side down, hips start to clear, it's good extension through the ball. Rips it into the right field corner.
Another chance for Texas here to add on. How about that? The leadoff hitter has reached every inning, yet the sacrifice hasn't been a huge part of this game. But no matter how you do it, that will lead to runs.
Can't score without base runners. You got to make 3 left turns to score.
C.J. Hinojosa 1 for 3. Reached on an error last inning and came around to score in the 4-run 5th. Tried to lay it down and goes off of Halloran's mask.
Had to push that to the right side that time. Caught the second baseman and the first baseman back. Both of them back. You're going to have that scenario when you catch those guys. Hanson was back. Jeff Bauer was back behind second base.
It really was a pretty good idea. 0-2, that'll be doing it here. Waves at that. And there's 1 out.
And there's times when all of us who's ever played the game just sort of giving a bat away. And that's what happens to you. You get so excited. I want to get the job done. He was trying to hit this ball to the right side, looking for a ball away. And upset at himself immediately. You can see him go to the bat, try to slap it with his right hand, where you just mentally got out of the at-bat. But not getting the bunt down. A lot of times when you try to push bunt,
you see it open.
See it's right there. Get it done, and you don't get it done. Mentally, you get out of your thinking, and it comes back to haunt you.
Thinking I'm 0-2, and I just gave up a strike. What am I doing? Well, it's up to Marlowe with 1 out. 1-0 count on him. Texas is 4 for 19 with runners on. A little cue ball shot. It's going to have some English, but Anderson makes the play, and there's 2 outs. Advancing to third will be Shaw.
To have good nights, you got to keep at bats going. So this is a big at bat for Barrera, who's been really on a good streak. Had a great game on Tuesday night. Started this ball game out, ripped an RBI single to center. These are the at bats you want to keep going. Yes, it's 8-1. The game may be in hand, but great hitters and guys that want to be great hitters don't ever get an at bat away. Right now, it's grind it out, drive this guy in, and get that second hit of the ball game.
This guy wants to be great. You don't have to talk to him for too long to realize that.
And the other thing about it, he loves to play.
He does.
We were around the cage today, and both of us.
Smiling.
He loves to play.
Just having a good time. That's in there. 0-2. Anderson settling down here a little bit. Texas with 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and then a 4 spot in the 5th. Oh, left that up.
I'd like to have that one back if you're a hitter. That's one of those when Anderson got set, the ball came out of his hands. He's thinking, oh, can I have that back?
Oh.
It's one you want to reach out and grab about halfway there. Oh, let me have that one back. Got away with it. Gets his front side down. Excellent extension right there. Just missed.
1-2. John Malman, the lefty, who's been impressive so far this season, is getting loose for Texas. We'll see if that's it for Parker French, who's been really dynamite tonight. 2-2. We've seen these Texas hitters also not be afraid early on in the season to get in 0-2 count because they feel like they can actually work it back. I don't know if that's experience or just being a better hitter or having a better eye.
It's confidence. Hitting, there's a lot of things that confidence can play a factor in, but hitting is one of the biggest in baseball.
2-2. He's messing with fire hanging some of these pitches.
And both have been off-speed pitches. Hanging breaking balls, hanging sliders go a long, long way.
You hang them, we bang them. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Colin Shaw, the leadoff double. He's at third. Trace Barrera at the plate. Better location there from Anderson. Still 2-2.
Anderson's got to stay with a plan. He's got a senior catcher that's helping him right here. They got Barrera out the last time by doubling up 2 fastballs in, able to get him to pop up. He hasn't doubled up in this at bat. He's going in different directions. See if he doesn't come back in again here, maybe with another fastball in.
2-2. He was 3 or 4 steps to his dugout. He thought he had that one.
He went with the hard slider away and just missed downstairs. This has got plenty of plate. Just missed downstairs. Again, it's been a small zone all night for both sides.
9th pitch of the at-bat. This ball hit the left. And a sliding play by Smith. So Barrera gave it a little ride, but Texas strands Shaw at third. We're back. We have played 6 here in Austin. Texas leads Minnesota 8-1. We welcome you inside the booth. Kevin Dunn alongside 3-time All-American Keith Moreland and former big leaguer Keith. We saw a big league-like performance from Parker French. Really seemed to be poised and got a lot of ground ball outs.
First pitch strikes we talked about to start the ball game. That was what was important. The first 10 batters for Minnesota coming to the plate, Parker got ahead of him, not only with his fastball, but he got ahead with his breaking ball and occasional change to go with it. As the game went on, he sort of started to overthrow a little bit in the middle part of the ball game. I liked this last inning of work where he came back, got strike one on all 3 hitters with his sinker and attacked the hitters again. There were middle part of every game, there's times when every pitcher makes mistakes or mentally gets out of the game, but he was able to come back right at the end of that. That's a good outing. He didn't use a ton of pitches, got through the 6th. Now it's turn it over to the bullpen. And
it's how you answer it, too. So he was able to answer maybe the little struggle he had today. John Malman's going to be your new pitcher. Malman, a 6-foot, 180-pound sophomore from Troy, Texas, went to Troy High School. And so far this year, the knock on John last year was control, and he's been around the plate.
He does have 1 walk, which you don't look at that, but what's his pitch count? Where is his counts? Is he falling behind here? 2-0. Is he consistently behind in the count? That's not, he doesn't have the type of stuff to do that. He needs to throw strike 1 because he can move the ball in and out with his fastball, he can use his straight change, and the other pitch that I don't think he uses as much as he would like to because he hadn't been able to get ahead is his good breaking ball.
2-1 to Michael Handel. Handel's 0 for 2. Really the team leader of this Minnesota squad. 2-2. You could almost, it's almost like he could hear you and Skip saying, look, it's 8-1, it's 2-0, attack.
Attack. And attack early where you don't put yourself in 2-0. Then you can use your full assortment of pitches. That hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt.
Well, it's a lot better that he did that in Austin and not Minnesota. Not that they would be playing right now in 18-degree weather.
Sunday here when it's going to be really chilly, it sounds like. But this hurts. It's just, you're just trying to stride and extend, and all of a sudden it goes right off of the top of your foot. And just nobody can help you. There's absolutely nobody there. The trainer can't come out and do something for you. You can't put ice on it right now. You just got to bear the pain. But when you take that shoe off this evening, when he takes the shoe, he'll know it.
So as a catcher, what do you call here? What is he susceptible to?
Another fastball in on his fist, because he doesn't want to swing and foul it back off that front foot again.
We'll see if he goes back to it. Goes with a breaking ball. Nice play out there.
Left it over the middle of the plate. That's when you want to start it out inside and break it inside the strike zone.
Michael wants that one back. Goes back to it and rings him up. Much better location.
Now, this is a perfect backdoor breaking ball. Starts it out away. It's a ball. It's a ball. No, it's not. It comes back right at the last minute. Hitter gets up a great view right here. See it come back right at the last minute and nip the corner as it comes down. As a hitter, you instantly see that ball away. Your recognition at the beginning goes, that's outside, and then it comes back.
One out for Jordan Smith. Smith made a nice play in left on the Tres Barrera line drive. Whiffs at that, 0-2.
There's so many more weapons when you can get ahead. This is a good bender right there. Slider. I wouldn't change nothing. I'd come right back with it.
He has not looked comfortable with these cuts.
No. It's not broke.
Don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
They're trying. He wanted that elevated, did Cantu. Try and change the eye level, but he missed outside. He had 8 straight strikes before that ball. That's a beautiful breaking ball, Keith. That's what you were talking about, getting ahead and finishing off.
Then it allows him to go to what I think is his best pitch. He's got the slider, and then he's got this curve. This is a bigger breaker. You can see him take a little more off of it, gets a little more on top of it, and just had him fanning at it way out in front.
Yeah, that was a tough sequence for Jordan Smith, who just did not look comfortable, like a lot of lefties against lefties. 2 outs for Tony Shefty. Shefty doubled back in the 5th inning, but was stranded. Also grounded to C.J. Hinojosa, and C.J.'s had a lot of action. I believe he's been in 7 plays this game.
Parker French, if you're an infielder, you got to come into the ball game saying, I'm going to get some activity. He throws a lot of ground balls.
13 ground ball outs, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run was not earned. It was on the Cantu pass ball. And he's done that. He has forced Minnesota to beat themselves up, literally.
It's an excellent outing. It's a good comeback. Starting to see, build his strength when a month from now you get into conference play. Have him up where he can go 100 to 115 pitches.
Second. Well, Malvin started the inning off with a 2-0 count, but quickly 1, 2, 3, time to stretch him. We're back in Austin, do-si-do time. It is the 7th inning stretch. It is Texas by 7 over Minnesota. Longhorns lead 8-1, and it's been another offensive output for Texas. We saw 14 runs on Tuesday, and Keith, they have been excellent, and they've really done it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, they're doing the Cotton Eye Joe like as good as anybody can. When you look at the numbers, Obviously, they had 20 hits on Tuesday. They have 9 tonight. They scored 14 on Tuesday, 8 tonight. But I think the two things that come off the page right there are the bottom ones, really. 9 extra base hits. You've got to be a good slugging team. That was one of the things that carried this team in the postseason last year, as all of a sudden they developed a slugging game. A home run by C.J. Hinojosa wins a game, the College World Series. Down in Houston in the regional, slugging, extra base hits. So they need to take their walks and get some slugging percentage. OPS creates offense. That is the combination of slugging percentage and on-base percentage added together. It's called the OPS. I mean, anybody that watched Major League Baseball now, everybody's OPS comes up all over the place. But a team's OPS in college, anything about 750 as a team, you can look at the end of the year, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with offensively.
And 700 is not pretty good.
Anything below 700, it's a team that struggles offensively.
Brett Boswell will lead it off for Texas. There is a new catcher, Austin Ottman. Ottman coming in now for Halloran, who did a pretty good job behind the plate. Boswell, McCann, and Cantu are due, and Brett Boswell finds a hole in the right side, and Brett with his second consecutive hit after the 2 RBI double in the 5th.
It's a really fluid swing. It's about rhythm and timing. He does it so well. Watch the movement. A lot of movement, sets it down. Hands glide forward. Does a nice job of setting his front side down. The Longhorns continue to reach base every inning. The leadoff hitter reaches base. But that's why everybody's got a lot of future looking at Brett Boswell. I think he's a young man that can hit, and he's going to hit.
Tommy Nicholson still showing the hands down there. That was all Big 12 right there.
Yeah, you're backing up right there. You just don't want to catch it on a fingernail. As a coach, if you're backing up, oh, make sure this spin. Let me catch it in my hand and not on my fingernail.
Tommy's done a great job here as an assistant coach. It's in there for a strike. But it wasn't that long ago he was playing AAA, so his skills are still pretty good.
Excellent. Defending second baseman, that was for sure.
McCann 1 for 3. Got in on him a little bit. One of the things these freshmen are going to have to realize is that there's going to all of a sudden be a book on them, and they're going to have to adjust to that, and it's that constant game of adjustments.
You know, and right now scouting reports are tough. Both teams are watching each team take BP, and it's hard to tell from batting practice what a guy does. Now you can see a guy that's got power where you're going to stay away from him. He can hit the ball in the ballpark, or you see a guy that goes the other way a lot. You can see that from BP, but once you get into a game, you really get a better idea of what a guy's approach is and what he's thinking. But we get into conference play. Each team will have good scouting reports on every other team. Coaches exchange a lot of information once you get to that point.
Left side, trying to turn it, and they cannot. Good job by Shefty at third, but Schaefbauer, had no chance to turn that.
Good hustle by McCann, but a nice job to stay in there, try to turn the double play. You can catch a few ground balls when you're indoors in a football facility, because that's what they have to use is the indoor football facility. But it's difficult to work on your fly ball work and your cutoffs and your relays. So they will spend some time tomorrow, even with a doubleheader. You'll see this Minnesota team doing a lot of things they did today in their batting practice, where they were working a lot of stuff that they haven't done outside much this season. They had 3 days last week in Houston. The weather wasn't great down there either. They had some moisture during some of the situations where they didn't get the full pregame workouts. Right.
Well, the first practice they've had outdoors was last Thursday at Houston, and for us Texans, we would say it was not good weather. It was okay weather to play baseball, though, if you're living in Minnesota.
You're right.
But that just says it all. That's the first time they were out on a field, which is why, like you said, the fly balls can be difficult. This is a big fly ball, and it's over the head of Modi. They are going to hold up McCann, but a double for Cantu, and What did Augie say? When the lights come on, he's one of those guys, he plays better than he practices.
Well, I tell you what, he gets great extension right here. This ball was up in the zone, kept his hands back, and got great extension. I believe it's an off-speed pitch out over the plate and up. Front side gets down. He gets great extension out in front. Shows you his power right there. That ball carried 400, right at 400, 398 feet to dead straightaway center field.
Infield is up. You're in the 7th. Now is where you just can't afford to give up any more runs.
You're already down 7, so you're in a situation here now where your pitcher needs to strike out or a pop up. Gerwitz would like to make something of his night right now.
Hard hit. Nice play at first by Hansen.
You can't do any more as a hitter. We were talking about the one guy that hadn't had a base hit. Well, you can't have a better at bat than Zane Gerwitz did right there. You can't hit a ball any harder. It's just right at the first baseman. The one hop shot goes down and makes the play. No chance for McCann to score from third. You feel helpless as a hitter when you're running down the line right there.
Oh.
I can't do it any better than I just did. Didn't pay off.
And I'm the only one tonight who's going to be in the locker room when everyone's high-fiving and happy. And I can't say anything because I'm a bad team player then.
No, you're happy to win a ball game. Now, if you lose a ball game and you go, you're struggling a little bit. That's when you're not happy.
I don't think Augie and the coaching staff is worried about Zane and if he's going to hit this year. He's one of those guys who.
You call him a gym rat.
He is, yeah. He's a dirtbag. A gym rat is a great example. Ben Johnson fouls that off, down in the count 0-2. Well, Augie and the Horns still have 3 more to play against Minnesota. It's a point that Keith brought up earlier in the broadcast, that you've got to be cognizant of that with your pitching, that not only is it early on in the year and you don't want to tax them too much, but you've got 9 extra innings to go.
Well, you do, and when you have these situations with the game on Tuesday as well, you really have 45 innings in 5 days to get through a pitching staff.
That'd be a lot for the bigs.
It is. So, and you have guys that are ready to go when the season starts to go 50 to 75 pitches every time they go out there. So they're going to need some length, and they got that out of Parker. Bullpen's been good to this point.
Ooh. Yep, they're going to call that a strikeout. And Ben Johnson's asking why. He's saying he's hit his arm, but he did go around, Keith.
If you go to swing the bat, and you swing the bat, and the umpire recognizes that you swung the bat. Did he swing the bat? They said, yes, he did. The ball hit him. It didn't hit the bat. You're out in that scenario right there.
Great night for a baseball game here in Austin. Texas leading, well, they're leading Minnesota 8-1 as we head to the 8th inning. Hey, DirecTV customers, you can now watch Longhorn Network on Watch ESPN. You can catch your Horns on the go anytime, anywhere. So happy to have DirecTV with us, and hope you enjoy your season of Longhorn baseball. Kevin Dunn, Keith Moreland here. Texas, 8 runs, 11 hits, no errors. Minnesota, 1 run, 3 hits, and 1 error as we head to the 8th inning. And out for another inning of work will be John Malman. Pretty complete effort so far for the Horns.
It has been, limiting Minnesota, who last week against a really good Houston Cougar ball club got 21 base hits. So they swung the bat pretty well. They've been limited to just 3 base hits tonight. The Longhorn pitchers have thrown strikes. They pitched ahead in the count, and the defense has been very good for Texas as well.
A lot of first pitch strikes and a lot of first pitch outs too, and it seems like a lot of innings that have been 1 pitch, 1 out, and that always makes that pitcher feel pretty good. We're going to have a pinch hitter. It's going to be Matt Stemper. Stemper will come on to pinch hit for Alex Boxwell. a chance to get a lot of these guys some action. It's one of the things Augie really wanted to do last weekend in Houston, even though it was a 4-game set and it meant a lot against a top 20 team in Rice. He got 11 newcomers action.
Yeah, you got to get them on the field. You got to get them out there in the bright lights and see what against another color uniform and see how they perform, see how they react. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of different players play over the course of the weekend, this weekend as well, especially pitching. I think we're going to see guys maybe get extended looks where they get a chance to get out there for more than just an inning.
Malman now with a 1-2 count on Stemper. He's into pinch hit. There's that curveball, and it's a nice one, Keith.
If he gets ahead, it's just one of those that it has such a big plane change. In other words, it starts up in the upper quadrant. If you split home plate into 4 quadrants, watch, it starts out upper quadrant, breaks all the way to the lower inside quadrant. So he's going across 2 planes in 2 quadrants. It's difficult, especially for a collegiate hitter, to see that. They see the ball up here, and then they're chasing the whole time. Their hands are having to chase down to find it.
Top of the lineup, Dan Modi. Dan's 0 for 3. Grounded to Boswell, struck out, and grounded to Hinojosa in the 5th. Boswell's going to get some more action. He has been very smooth over there. 1, 2, 3. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's all burnt orange.
LHN is the home court of Texas women's basketball.
Second inning, Colin Shaw comes to the plate, does a nice job of going with the fastball away, getting it up, riding the breeze, blowing out to left, off of the wall for 3 bases. Love his stance, love his approach. He comes back in the 6th, gets a fastball, turns and drives it just inside the bag for a double. See the growth of the senior from Austin Westlake right here in Austin, Texas. He's really had a great start to the season, but I think part of that has been the adjustment he's made, Kevin, when you look at him early last year and really in his sophomore campaign, where I felt like he got himself so closed up with his stance, he had a tough time getting open without flying open. Now I think he squared his stance a little bit more. He's got a better idea how to go with the ball away and turn on the ball inside. I expect him to have a really good senior campaign.
I'm not sure if a couple years ago he can turn on that ball that he did and keep that fair.
But I think a lot of it might have been his stance in the way he was so closed up he just couldn't get out to get to the baseball in there. Now he's a much more square hitter. Good stance, good view right here. You can see on our screen right now. He's very square to the pitcher, shoulder square, and his stance with his feet.
Good stuff from Keith. There's Shaw will lead it off for Texas, 2, 3, and 4 here in the 8th. Maybe he could use a little insurance. This certainly feels like it's in the hands of the Longhorns. And you would think John Malman with, what, 45 more innings to go, partner?
Well, they not quite that many, but 37.
37, I'm sorry, yeah.
37 more to go between now and Tuesday evening when the end of this 5 games in 5 days.
Makes that the foul. 1 and 2.
Plus tomorrow is a big day. If you don't have to use somebody off your Skip Johnson, you're thinking, if I only had to use 2 of my guys tonight, I've got 18 innings in one day tomorrow, and looks like we're going to have good weather for that. So I believe all those innings will be played tomorrow. And because of that, you would like to have a fully stacked bullpen ready to go for that game.
Take a look at interim pitching coach. Scott Natus. And then obviously also Skip Johnson. 2 left. This is going to be trouble. 1 hops the fence. Boy, Shaw is using that wind to his advantage and going oppo tonight.
Yeah, but he's squaring the ball up, too.
No doubt.
You're using the breeze. And I said that last one used the breeze. This one uses the breeze as well. But it does a nice job of getting the barrel of the bat with good extension on it. Catches the inside corner of the bag. Thinking 3 right here. Has to throw the brakes on. But good extension right there.
3-hit day now for Colin Shaw, and really outside of his 4th inning at bat, where he just grounded out to short, even the RBI ground out in the 1st was a heck of an at bat. He's had 4 really good at bats.
He's had that. Think about this: 6th ball game of the year. Colin Shaw, that was his 5th double of the year. throw a triple in there as well. His slugging percentage, outstanding.
C.J. Hinojosa. Good stop. It's Ottman.
It's a great stop, but it's one of those where you're almost, look what I found.
Right.
You're trying to get in position, and all of a sudden, wow.
You wouldn't teach that, right?
No, you were just doing the best you could do to get your body over there, and it's stuck in your glove.
And therefore, strike 1-1.
Sometimes in these situations when you're a hitter, the book says to hit the ball to the second baseman and move the guy up, but it's 8-1 in the 8th. Sometimes right here you want to take a good solid at bat and just drive the ball wherever it may be. I like to see that for CJ. CJ in his last at bat tried to get the guy over, really got outside of his middle deal. Right now, get back in it, do the little things you need to do, have a good quality at bat right here.
Three and one. Well, the leadoff man has reached every inning for Texas. They do that, they're going to win a lot of ball games.
Yes, they will.
And like we said, really the sacrifice has not been a big part in this game. Actually, a very small part. Well, CJ does get the job done. The runner advances. But I see your point, Keith. It didn't seem as if he was just trying to Derek Jeter everything and inside out at where he said, look, it's 7-run lead, let me hit the ball.
You know, yeah, you want to play the game and do the little things that it takes to play the game. And you're always thinking with a leadoff double, get him over, the next guy gets him in, play offense, do the little things. But then sometimes you look at the score and say, hey, you know, I want to get, and you're trying to get going. CJ's trying to get that swing and that confidence going. I think you let a guy like that, and that was a good. I think that was a good at bat. He was trying to get a base hit, and he still got the job done.
Yep. There's Brooks Marlowe, 1 for 3. Singled, walked, and has also scored a run. He's come a long way offensively. He started his UT career off here as a freshman by hitting 2 homers off Marcus Stroman from Duke, a first-team All-American. 2 homers in 1 game. And Augie said probably the worst thing that happened to the young man because he was trying to hit balls out the rest of the year with a bat and a ball in a park that wasn't going to have it.
I know, it's just not made for that. But what he does is he sees a lot of pitches. He doesn't panic with 2 strikes. And I think it's a good fit to be.
Infield in, Keith, and excuse me, he blows it right by him. And he seems to have more at-bats like that now as a senior.
He's just a good fit. If you go right, left, right, left, right, left, with which Augie Garrido's trying to build his lineup that way, he's a good guy to have, and he doesn't panic in RBI situations. Does a nice job right there on a ball, a changeup. It was upstairs. Didn't try to do too much with it. Go back through the center of the diamond.
A funny hop off the mound, and Schaefbauer at second had no shot. We're going to have a pitching change here. Not as many pitching changes as we had on Tuesday. That was
everyone was between half innings too.
I was getting loose actually at one point. 9-1 Texas here. Number 32 Cody Campbell, the sophomore right-hander from Naperville, Illinois, into Central High School. Another big kid, 6'3", 210 pounds, will come in.
Naperville, a suburb of Chicago, a really good athletic program across the board in Naperville. Central being one of those, and not only in baseball, but the other sports. So big school, and a suburb of Chicago. He comes out. And this is one of those situations, again, where you're trying to find something out. And Coach Anderson, he's just like Coach Garrido. He needs to find out about some of his young guys, and this is an opportunity. Yeah, I just got 2 outs to get it in a 9-1 ball game, but how are you going to respond when the lights are on in a big crowd?
John Anderson knows that he's got to use this weekend. It's going to help RPI-wise, even if they lose every game. You get a little bit of credit, at least for playing the game. Obviously, you want to be able to get 1 or 2 if you can.
Oh, you want to win every game you go play, but they started their season off with 2 weekend trips to Texas to play the number 5 team and the number 7 team in the country.
Good luck.
Yes.
When they've been outside playing and you have not. take a look at Campbell. But what, Keith, for all the Texas fans that are watching and obviously very curious to get your opinion on where this club is, maybe compared to some of the other clubs you've seen, where is this Texas team right now?
Well, I go back to, we opened the broadcast with it. The expectations for fans here in Central Texas and across the country will be, the fact is that this is a program that has been to the College World Series more than any other program, 35 times. That's the first thing. Second thing is, it's a team that has a ton of returning starters, especially on the defensive side. I mean, you go back, you look at the shortstop, the second baseman are both veteran players coming back. Outstanding outfield with great defense. You're looking at the corners. You have a catcher that won the home run derby contest and can catch. And you brought
he's not even catching.
And he's not catching right now, but you brought another guy in that's a catcher that's one of the highest recruits in the country. So the expectations for this team is to play in Omaha. So you've got to get through that a little bit. And the last thing is, it's going to fall on Skip Johnson, who has the arms, but can he mold those three guys for the weekend that are going to make the difference as we get it into crunch time, and crunch time is May.
And one of those guys we're going to see tomorrow is going to be Josh Sawyer, and I think Skip's very happy with Josh. He just needs to show it on the mound, like you said, kind of get out in front of the bright lights.
Get out in front of the bright lights and throw strike one. Because if he can get ahead of the hitter, it puts them in such a defensive mode because he has got a put-away pitch with a good hard breaking ball.
Campbell's first pitch to Barreras, fouled off. Trace had a single and an RBI in the first, walked and scored in the fifth, and has flied out twice. Thought it was funny. You're always, obviously, both teams are always looking up to you as a former big leaguer, and Trace said something to you before the game. He said, look, you know, when you're in Double-A and you're going to be there soon, first thing you're going to do when you get up is check the wind.
Yeah, it's figure out which way the wind's blowing. You're going to know that. You know, when you get to the next level, it becomes a factor. Now, you get to the big league level, it's not, unless you're at Wrigley, there's not many ballparks that the wind plays a factor. San Francisco's one. At Peck Bell or AT&T Park now in San Francisco, where the wind plays a factor, but in the smaller ballparks in the minor leagues,
this ball is laced to left, and just able to make the play is Smith. He's had a couple shots. That one hit a lot harder than the other one that Trace hit.
Well, both of them were hit. You can hang a month's worth of laundry on both of these line drives. And you get great extension right there. You can't hit a ball any harder than this. Sometimes you go back to the dugout and you go, wow, how did that guy get to that ball? But he was playing on the warning track right there. Nice play.
That was the 30th pitch that Barrera saw tonight. He's shown some patience, even being obviously a slugger. So 2 outs. Here's Boswell. Boswell's looked really good his last couple at bats, including a double in the fifth that scored 2. He also came around to score that inning, and then a single last inning.
And you see the difference in the styles of hitters. You got the power swing and the quickness of a Barrera with his bat, and he uses the power. And then you look at Boswell right behind him, is all about fluid. See a view for him from the side when he swings. All the movement, gets it down. It's got all this fluid movement, much like a Ted Williams type swing where there was a lot of movement. He gets the front side down, the bat comes whipping through.
Right back up the middle, third hit in a row for Brett Boswell.
That's a perfect example right there. Rhythm and timing is hitting, and boy, he does a nice job keeping himself on line. Watch his rhythm. Coming forward, front side goes down, hands come through. When that front side comes down, it allows his hips to explode and his hands to follow.
Redshirt freshman from Rockwall, Texas. Just talking with everyone about him in the fall or the summer. Everyone said he's smooth. I said, can you give me something else? CJ gave me something. He said he's a baller. But I see what they're saying now as we're going to have a
hit batter, a breaking ball. It just got away right there.
And that's Joe Baker, who actually came in to pinch hit, who's a true freshman, they're really excited about him defensively. Augie used the name Brandon Loy when talking about Joe Baker defensively, so but I'm not sure if he's there yet.
Well, he can pick it if he can play with Brandon Lloyd,
right,
because Brandon Lloyd could pick it. A chance to really blow this thing open right here.
Bases loaded for Cantu.
We're getting back when you were talking about Brett Boswell. You hate to compare hitters and hitters' styles with other people, but it reminds me a lot of that people in the state of Texas will recognize in Josh Hamilton. May not have the home run power, but Hamilton is one of those fluid type hitters where he gets everything going at the same time, and when he gets into one of those streaks, almost impossible to get him out.
You can see what you're talking about in terms of kind of how it all works together.
You know, he uses rhythm and timing to allow himself to get into the flow and allow his movement to transfer from his backside to his front side.
Two and one. Let's take another look at that swing, Keith.
Here from the side, what's the fluidness? Does that not remind you that angle of the bat and the way he comes through?
Yeah.
And again, you don't want to compare apples to oranges or whatever, but that's the style he uses, which is a really good style, because what it does to you, you hardly ever see a guy like that go into a prolonged slump.
Pitch up, Cantu fouls it back. 2-2. Cantu has reached 6 straight at-bats. He's walked twice today. There's a single, a double, and another single. Chance to add some more ribbies. The 2-2 from Campbell. Fouled out of play.
Don't want to make mistakes up there.
And he showed when he extended on that double and hit that ball to center. When he extends his arms, it will travel a long way. He's a strong young man.
They'd like to maintain those numbers throughout the season. 333 with the bases loaded.
Yeah. 2-2, laced to left center. This is going to bring home 1. It's going to bring home 2. They're sending the third. A 3 RBI double from the freshman from Corpus Christi. The Horns have blown it open.
Gets great extension on a high fastball right here. Gets it out in front, pushes off the backside, gets great extension. You can see the extended of the bat and on top of the baseball. Attacks it on top, down and through it, and rifles it into the gap. It's a big night for the young freshman from Corpus Christi.
Second double tonight. He has been having a ball. Zane Gurwitz. Well, Zane is going to get that chance.
35 hits as a team in the last 2 ball games. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to win this 3-game winning streak. You're starting to see each team each year sort of takes an identity.
Yep.
And this team, I think, is going to be a good offensive team.
Just foul. Well, Keith, I think you're exactly right that as Gurwitz is thinking at this point, oh, heck, I'll take getting hit by a pitch. Just get me on. I want to be that guy. But I think you're right, Keith. This is a time when usually we're used to seeing, especially college teams, create an identity. And it seems to be kind of forming in front of us right now. That's a fair ball, and they have all reached base. And go ahead and tack on an RBI double for Zane Gurwitz. It's all Horns.
Campbell leads this ball again, a breaking ball up in the zone. It's just up there, breaking stays inside. Gurwitz front side gets down, just pulls it right inside the bag. Not anything you can do, actually over the bag. There's not much you can do right there as a third baseman. Extra bases.
I'm not sure Brooks Robinson does anything with that.
Not on this turf, anyway, for sure.
Right.
16 hits to go with the 20 the other night.
Every hitter has reached base tonight. As Keith brought up, Zane Zane had some good at-bats, just didn't have any luck. But gets a little luck there and creates it. Still 2 outs here. Texas, here's another thing they've done. You think about the runs they put up in the bottom of the 7th and the bottom of the 8th against UTSA, and now finishing strong with 5 in the bottom of the 8th when the game seemed to be already done. We're not going to have our reservations at Ruth's Chris. We're going to keep on play baseball and see if we can't get more runs.
Man, you can afford Ruth's Chris.
No, I can't. Well, I can now. I couldn't in college. So they're not going there, but should have said VY. I should have got that. Yeah. You know what I mean, though.
Oh, I do.
They stayed in it.
Yes, they did. Absolutely.
Ben Johnson, 1 for 5. The triple and a run. Cody has hung a couple of those this inning.
Most of his breaking balls, he's got some good bite to it, but Campbell's left him in the middle part of the plate into right-handers.
Right back up the middle, and another hit, and they're going to hold up Zane Gurwitz, much like Tuesday night against UTSA. Once it gets out of control, Tommy Nicholson is not going to rub it in. But a base hit for Johnson, his 2nd of the game.
Fastball out over the plate, gets good extension on it, drives it back through the box. Look at those numbers in the last 2 ball games. 27 runs, 31 base hits. I've got, in the last 2, I've got him actually at 37 base hits. They had 20, I believe, on Tuesday night.
Well, it's starting to add up. We'll take a look at it because the numbers are piling up. And that has not been a problem in college baseball, and certainly not in Austin the last couple of years, trying to tally up offensive numbers.
No.
Here's Shaw, and he has had just a great day. He's looking for maybe his 2nd triple of the game, his last time up, but instead took his 5th double of the season. He already has 5 doubles. Texas has outscored opponents 26-1 from the 7th inning on this year.
I win a lot of ball games. The other number that always we talk about as the season goes on, how good are you with 2 outs?
Yep.
How many runs do you score with 2 outs in an inning to extend innings?
That seems to be, you go back to the 05 team, the 02 team, the 75 team you were on. National championship teams, you don't see almost any that aren't good with 2 outs.
Yeah.
And really good.
I'm sorry. Teams that are good offensively, 2 outs and nobody on, have the opportunity to still score. A lot of times you're a team that you have 2 outs, nobody on, you don't have a big opportunity to score.
3-2, ring him up, caught him looking. Texas done here in the 8th. They put a 5 spot up. 3 outs away from taking game 1. Well, the baseball series against Minnesota continues this weekend right here on LHN. Saturday, there are 2 games. First one at 3 Central, the second one at 6 Central, or 45 minutes following the conclusion of the first game of the doubleheader. Then on Sunday at 1, it should be fun. Longhorn baseball all weekend right here on Longhorn Network. Welcome back, Kevin Dunn. Keith Moreland, Texas, trying to finish it off.
Well, they've really done a nice job. They've scored 6 of their 13 runs after 2 outs. They've had an unbelievable week offensively so far in their first 2 ball games of the week. We'll try to give you some of those numbers as we come to that. 27 runs in Tuesday and Friday night's game this week in their last 2 ball games. It's the most since they had 35 versus UTA and Oklahoma State. The 20th and the 23rd of 2010, that was a good offensive club, as we talked about.
That with the 1985 offense would be probably the 2 best offenses of my lifetime. Now, your 75 club would certainly be up there. But not to make you feel old, but that was not my lifetime.
Thank you very much.
But no, I think that says a lot right there. That this is a different offense this year. And one that can do a lot of different stuff. I think will be dynamic, Keith. Will show some pop, but can also hit the ball in the gap and run a little bit. Well, John Malman has looked good. This is exactly what Skip Johnson needed. And Skip is hoping that his lefty, Josh Scheuer, will go up against Dalton Sawyer. And it's the battle of Sawyers. The Sawyer boys. We expect Josh to get that start. And he really wants to kind of clear up what he did last week. He did not feel like he had his best outing, but it seems like Skip's very high on the young lefty.
Well, I think he's one of those guys that when he gathers the confidence, he has the ability. It's just putting it all together. When he finds a way to put it all together, I think he'll have a great opportunity to be one of those guys that's pitching on the weekend.
Funky little play there as Fiedler took an awkward looking cut, but had a little, I'm not sure if this had English on it or what, but Boswell tried to cut it off.
Well, he tried to get to it, couldn't get down to it. Just tied him up inside. It was going to be the only chance to get an out right there was for Boswell to make the play, just couldn't come up with it. I would call it a base hit. Not a pretty one, but a base hit.
It's not a pretty one. It is the 4th hit of the night for Minnesota. First hit. Yeah, first hit since the 5th inning when Tony Shefty had a double. Here's Tyler Hansen. If you're wondering, you saw Toby Hansen earlier. These are not the Hansen brothers. Thank God. To right center. Shaw makes the play, and Minnesota's down to their last out.
Slap shot, Hansen brothers?
The Hansen brothers, yeah. There you go. But one of the reasons Shaw stayed in right field, he was maybe going to go to center. Augie feels like he's such a good corner outfielder, and he thinks that's the toughest spot to play out here.
It is. I think at this ballpark with the sun and the day games, it is. And it allows Ben Johnson to stay in left. The outfield defense is outstanding. And Shaw is a gold glove type guy for college. It allows Ben Johnson, who's really adapted well, to left. Gerwitz has done a nice job in center to go with it.
Well, Shaw's going to have an opportunity. We'll see if Gerwitz calls him off. Shaw can't make the play, could not squeeze it. And one run's going to come home, the second run of the game for Minnesota. Well, that ball was hit extremely high. I don't think Shaw thought it was going to carry as much as it did.
Well, again, the breeze got involved in this. Colin will tell you, though, I guarantee you when you talk to him, it's a ball I probably should have caught right here. It just keeps carrying on him a little bit. The wind picks it up. He reaches up, thinks he's got a hold of it, just can't come up with it. It'd be difficult for me just to ask him. As good as he is in the outfield, it happens to all of us. I think that's a play he should have made.
It is ruled an error, and if you talk to number 4 at all, he'd be the first to say, yep, that's an error. And I don't want John Malman, who pitched really well, to be penalized for that. It's a big glove, and there's that plastic. You see the white part on the front, and I'm sure our guys will get a little shot of that. There you go. That's plastic. I actually picked that up the other day. I don't know how they use it. Obviously, it's an outfielder's glove, so it's very big, but it's odd the way these new gloves are shaped, and that front part is all plastic, not leather.
But it is soft on the inside. The ball does not have a tendency to bounce out very often, and especially out of Colin Shaw's glove.
You get to look at it.
Technology.
It was just weird once I put it on, and Greg Swindell did too. I thought, I'm used to having a little bit of
They're more
range.
Collapsible.
Yeah.
Kevin, you felt that it actually gives you a bigger pocket because it has a tendency to collapse easier, more of a hinge type situation. You don't see infielders wearing them because they don't want a hinge. They want more of a paddle type glove.
Right.
They have a wider glove to get to, but as an outfielder, you want one. You can see as Trace Perez right there at first base. It's more, even though it's 14 inches long, is what a first baseman's glove. And there's in a Hinojosa, see that it's more of a paddle type. where an outfielder's glove will be more of a hinge type, where it has a big hinge in the middle where you have this bigger pocket.
Minnesota down to their last strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. John Mauman trying to finish it off. Good job just to stay alive.
Well, Mauman probably was going to be spent for the weekend anyway. But what happens is it not only does another run scored, Shaw would like to do it, but it increases the number of pitches that your staff's got to throw.
No doubt. He's on that. This is Troy Traxler, sophomore. An opportunity here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
That's a good breaking ball in a good location. Really tied Traxler up inside right there.
Nice job by Troy coming off the bench cold to actually just stay alive on that breaking ball.
It's been 3 hours since he's had an opportunity to take any swings.
Parker French in line for the win. This is to center field. Gurwitz is underneath it. And Minnesota able to add a run thanks to a Texas error, but this was all Longhorns, 13-2. They take game 1, and Keith, like you talked about in the beginning of the broadcast, when you have a 4-game set, you want your pitching to set you up, and Parker French did that.
Yeah, he did a nice job. Pitch count was low, went 6th inning. Mauman comes in right behind him, does an outstanding job. You only have to use 2 pitchers. And offensively, they kept it going. And that was one of our keys to the game. Could the Longhorns keep what they're doing offensively going? Had a big night offensively, got good pitching, didn't have to use a lot of their pitchers. And when you look at some of the numbers in these last 2 games offensively, they're spectacular. 27 runs, 37 hits. There's all kinds of 24 singles. The other thing is pressing to me, 13 extra base hits during that time. They slugged as a team, 651.
That's not OPS, that's slugging.
That's just
percentage.
slugging. Their OPS over 1,100.
And you said 750 is where
really
you can
good.
win a really good. And this team hoping that the eyes of Texas will continue to be glorious throughout the year. Solid win for Texas to open up the 4-game set against Minnesota. 9 national championships between these 2 programs all time, but there's no doubt that Texas is probably the premier program when these 2 meet in 2015. Welcome inside the booth, Kevin Dunn alongside Keith Moreland. And Keith, we've talked about the offense. You look at those numbers. I'm curious to get your take. When you look at this, how much of this has to do with the new baseball and how much of this has to do with Texas has better hitters?
Well, there's going to be a little bit to the new baseball. There's no question. Tonight, the wind was a major factor as well. It was a great night to hit. But the other part about this is a team that is a veteran that has a lot of at-bats, a lot of collegiate at-bats. Then you're going to add to that a guy like Brett Boswell who can hit. You're going to have Michael Cantu, somebody that came in to this campus knowing he could hit. So this is going to be a better offensive team. We haven't seen this type of outburst. And it's not like they're not facing pitching from 2 pretty good conferences when you look at UTSA and the Big Ten.
Right.
So you're seeing a team that's going to be better offensively than what we've seen over the last few years. And tonight they got a great pitching performance out, not only out of their starter Parker French, but their bullpen as well.
Yeah, Parker was awesome. 6 innings, 2 Ks, 13 ground ball outs. Who cares about the Ks? Ground balls is what it's all about, and every hitter was able to reach. Okay, Keith, let's go ahead and spin this forward to the 18 innings we expect to play tomorrow. Starts at 3 o'clock, and have both games here on LHN. What does Texas need to get accomplished tomorrow?
good starting pitching. It'll still be about going out, establishing starting pitching. You got a young left-hander, got beat around in his first opportunity. This will be a second career start. See what he does in his second career start.
Should be a lot of fun. Make sure you join us. Once again, our final score, Texas 13, Minnesota 2. Be sure to join us on Saturday at 3 and 6 Central as the baseball series against Minnesota continues. Coming up next, it's Longhorn Extra. For Keith Moreland, I'm Kevin Dunn. So long from the dish.